What's up, potheads and political junkies? You're watching Cannabis Culture News Live. I'm Jeremiah Vandermeer, editor of Cannabis Culture Magazine and Pot TV. What's up, guys? What's up, Dr. Clone? We are live. Yeah, we're a few minutes late here. For some reason, our backdrop, usually we have our logo up there on the wall. It's not giving us a signal. I'm not sure if it's a cord issue or what, but Marius, did we ever? It's still going? It's still trying? Okay. We're going to try and get something up on the wall for you guys. If not, it'll just be a naked wall back there today. Big show for you guys today. It's the Justin Trudeau on Weed show. So Liberal leader Justin Trudeau, that handsome devil, he's been in our neighborhood recently, and he was caught by news cameras saying, we want to legalize fully, not just decriminalize, but legalize fully again. I guess we have to vote Liberal then. I guess so. We might have to vote Liberal. Now, I hope he campaigns on it. We're going to talk to a couple Liberal insiders here. We have Mark Elias. Is that how I pronounce your last name? Elias. So Mark Elias. I always say it wrong. And Russ Miller of the Liberal Party. We'll be talking to these guys. They're working very, very hard behind the scenes to make sure that Justin is campaigning on it, I guess. Or they're whispering sweet nothings into his ear somehow to get him on our side. These are the guys also who had a lot to do with the Liberal policy paper that says just the same thing as Justin is saying. We need to legalize fully, and it actually shows us how we can get to doing that. So also on the show today, we have Jason Wilcox of the MMAR Coalition Against Repeal. He'll be on. Haven't seen him down here yet, but I know he's going to be around. We have Van from VanCity in the house. We have Dana Larsen, VanCity Medicinals, that is. They have a grand opening here in Vancouver. They have a Kingsway location of their new medical marijuana dispensary that's opening up. We'll talk about their grand opening on August 9th. Dana Larsen from Sensible BC will be here, hopefully, to tell us about the canvassing effort that's happening with Sensible BC. September is when the collection period starts. So as September starts, we're going to have to collect as many signatures. We need 10% of all ridings in British Columbia of all eligible voters in each riding. So that's a huge, daunting task. We need as many canvassers out in each different area as possible. So we're going to let you guys know how you can join on the campaign, get other people to help too, and get these signatures collected so we can decriminalize marijuana right here in British Columbia, at least up to an ounce of it. Dana will be on, and DML, David Malmo-Levine, curator of the Herb Museum right behind us here, will be joining us to talk about a mushroom evolver hosted thing. Vancouver Evolver and the Herb Museum hosted a big mushroom event here just a few days ago. It was like a mushroom festival, and I was lucky enough to talk to James Jesso, one of the people who were speaking. He gave me his book here, and I wanted to promote that, Decomposing the Shadow. We'll be talking to Dave about what happened there. Before we do all that, want to get into some news, got some videos to play. We got Stoner Advisory here too. She's going to be flying with me. Actually, why don't you come up here, Megan? Now, am I not supposed to say your real name on the air? Do you care? You don't care? Okay. Well, her name is Megan, so I often call her Megan. I also call her Navarro, because that's her last name.
Well, my Mexican last name.
Mexican last. Oh, there, you have multiple last names here.
Multiple names.
That's right. Okay, well, there. Good to see you again.
Good to see you and you guys.
You want a bong rip or something?
Of course.
Yeah, let's do that. I have some videos to play up front and some news to get into. Before we do play any videos, and while I'm loading, oh, there's already a bong rip loaded there. So what do you think about that? You should take that. And I'm going to show off this Georgia Straight from Vancouver issue that I have here.
Do you have a lighter?
Oh, gonna need that, I guess. Here we go.
That would be handy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, we got it.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, look at what a gentleman.
I think I actually might have to stand up for this.
Yeah, there you go. So while she's taking the bong rip, here's the new issue of the Georgia Straight. Bunch of advertising falling out of it. Big pot leaf on the cover.
Yeah, get that idiot.
Nice work. Woo-hoo. So this is cool. It says Weed Freedom on the bottom. Now, there's two articles in this written by Charlie Smith, the editor of the Georgia Straight. He's a pretty decent guy. We're going to have Miranda Nelson, one of the editors of the Georgia Straight, on the show, not this week, but next week, to talk about what they're doing over there. They're really getting behind the Sensible BC campaign as well. Charlie, I guess, wants to do everything he can to try and help this thing get out there to the public, so this will definitely be a good thing. The Georgia Straight, having them on our side, this is like the coolest newspaper in town, essentially, so it's good to have them on our side. They like your hair.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I like your hair. I'm not sure if they're talking to you or me, but they might be talking about my hair, because my hair's pretty
I don't know, my hair's pretty awesome. And they match my fuzzies.
And you clipped it, yeah, and then sewed it onto your legs.
Pretty much.
Or
pretty
maybe
much,
is that
right?
just natural? Is that natural?
Oh yeah, I grew it out and then
Yeah.
I just like dyed it.
That's right. I see. I thought maybe it was a natural color too, because it all
I
matches,
wish.
right?
I wish. I would spend a lot less on hair dye.
I want a bong rip too. I don't know what you were smoking there, but I think that was from our friends from Nanaimo who were going to a Rush concert tonight that were just chilling in the lounge
Oh
here.
yeah, I heard Rush is in town tonight.
One of the greatest Canadian bands of all time. I'd love to see a Rush show. I've never been to see them.
That'd be pretty interesting. I've only ever seen Rush shows like in movies and stuff.
That's
but
right.
They're always in so many movies.
See,
so.
I think they probably take the cake as the greatest Canadian band up there with the Guess Who. I don't know if I had to decide between those two. I don't know who I'd choose, but I've seen the Guess Who.
Rush is pretty up there on the Canadian bands, and
Yeah.
I know I have a couple friends out there that would be like, yes. So
Yeah. Well, the whole progressive rock thing, Wave saw Rush a few times in the 80s. It's funny, I used to work with a guy. Now, here's a tangent story. I used to work with a guy. I worked at Thrifty Foods for 10 years, essentially. Here in British Columbia, Thrifty Foods is a popular grocery store
I
chain.
could not see you working at Thrifty Foods.
The smiles in the aisle. That's where I learned all my, charm and
Customer
grocery
service,
store
that's all what it's
charisma.
about.
Yeah, that's right. They make you smile at everybody.
I know,
But
I work a lot of customer service.
one of the guys who was there, one of my bosses, his name was Dave. He was a crazy guy. He looked a lot older than he was, and he was quite outrageous. And he kind of looked like the guy, the Christopher Lloyd on the show Taxi. If you've ever seen Taxi, Christopher Lloyd, the character that he plays, he's all confused and his hair is all puffed up and stuff.
Yeah.
He's drunk, Jim, yeah, he's drunk the whole time. He's kind of like that guy. But he was the biggest Rush fan in the world. He was a Rush roadie or groupie, and he toured around with them, going to every show they ever went to, and that's the only band he ever liked, the only albums he ever bought, the only music he ever listened to was Rush, and he was completely obsessed with them.
Oh my god,
bizarre.
that's hilarious.
He was a cool guy, but I wonder how many of those rabid Rush fans there are.
Well, if you've seen Fanboys,
I have not.
Oh, dude, it's really good Star Wars movie.
Star Wars movie.
about a whole bunch of fanboys that are like on this mission to go see Episode 1 when it first comes out in theaters.
Really?
They basically try to like break into the Lucasfilm, his mansion to try to steal a copy of it.
Is it dramatic or is it a documentary?
It's a comedy.
It's
It's
a
a comedy.
dramatic- right, okay.
It's just a fake movie. But the guy in it with his van, all he listens to is Rush, and he refuses to listen to anything else in his van. It's all Rush all the time.
Maybe it's Dave Royston in the movie.
I know. That's why I'm like, I didn't know there was actually a real dude out there that only listened to Rush.
That's too funny. All right, well, I'm going to hit this bong now. And then I guess we should probably play the first video I have. So, Marius, I'm going to let you know which one that is to get it queued up and ready for when we're done here. It's an MPP video. I'm actually wearing an MPP shirt today, Marijuana Policy Project. I am not a criminal, it says, and marijuana prohibition. Marijuana Policy Project. Good guys down in the States. They have a new ad out right now. It's like a fake beer ad. It's really hilarious. And it's been released. I believe that they played it on the NASCAR big screen at NASCAR, and it was going on the commercials there as kind of like a fake beer thing or something. But Marius, that's probably the first one on the list there, I think. Yeah. And how did we ever
it's
get
been
any
ready.
progress on our screen? What's going on with the screen?
Not much. It's just a white screen.
It's not working at all.
The computer isn't booting up.
Oh, we have serious issues with our unit here.
Technical
We'll try and fix
difficulties.
that. So, bond rep, I haven't taken it yet. What the fuck am I doing?
Get on that.
Oh, thank you. Sure. I was gonna say, I also wanted to show some of your photos up on the big screen because you are a cannabis culture photographer.
I don't know if we can do that today, though.
I know, that's the problem with not having the screen. You have shots that you took at the Great Canadian Glass Gallery.
Yes, and some really cool pictures of glass, like stuff that I would love to just take like $5,000 up there and just go crazy.
Well, maybe what we can do is instead, Marius, if we can't get the screen running, maybe we can put the photos on the backdrop so we can show some of them for the audience viewing at home. Nobody here in the lounge will get to see them, but that's okay. At least you guys out there will see them.
They're pretty rad. There's some pretty rad glass pictures that I'm very, very jealous of whoever ends up with them. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's not me.
It was very cool to go to the Great Canadian Glass Gathering, and for those who weren't watching the show a couple weeks ago when we talked about it, it's a big gathering that happens. It's put on by Redbeard and Redbeard Glass up in Birkin, British Columbia. Birkin. It's a place that I had never heard of before until I went there. But it's quite a beautiful place in BC. It's a nice sort of getaway
It's a
for glass
gorgeous
blowers and
setting.
stuff.
It's awesome.
I can't
Surrounded
talk
by
today.
mountains.
There
What?
seems to be something wrong with my tongue today. I'm not sure what it is. I
Can't
think
speak
I haven't
fully.
had enough bong rips. That's probably
That's
the problem.
usually my problem. It's either too much or not enough, and usually it's not enough.
Here, I'm going to put the mic over in your direction. So, yeah, okay, let's play this MPP commercial, Marius. Let's get this out of the way.
If you're an adult who enjoys a good beer, there's a similar product you might want to know about. One without all the calories and serious health problems. Less toxic so it doesn't cause hangovers or overdose deaths, and it's not linked to violence or reckless behavior. Marijuana. Less harmful than alcohol, and time to treat it that way. For more information, visit marijuanaissafer.org.
You guys didn't get to hear it in the studio. Marijuanaissafer.org. Marijuanaissafer.org. And yeah, unfortunately for the people in the studio, they didn't get to see the commercial, but it's a really funny beer mockery ad. It looks like a beer ad, but it's for marijuana. And it says, of course, that marijuana is safer than beer. So yeah, that's funny. Those guys work really hard. They've been doing a lot of lobbying of the government for a long time. They have kind of a different approach than, say, groups like Normal. These guys kind of aim at the politicians and the people really making a lot of these decisions behind the scenes. And they do things like have big celebrity gatherings at the Playboy Mansion and things like that. And they invite these politicians and people there, and that's how they lobby them to try and push through some of these reforms and stuff. Seems to be working. It's how all the other corporations do it. So I guess we have to fight fire with fire and play by their rules. I do have some other videos here. I wanted to play another video that I have, Marius. This is called Police Plant Drugs, and I wanted to play it. It's just a sample of all of the videos that I see every week about corrupt cops. There's so many videos that come out every single week. And there's even a lot from Canada. There's a website called RCMP Watch, and you can find a lot of videos there. Now, these cops, they get caught on video all the time doing nasty stuff. Unfortunately, they rarely get in much trouble for it. Sometimes they get pay with leave and all this stuff while it's happening. Yeah, it's really frustrating, and it's really crazy
Pretty
that
much
the
like
people
sending them on a like vacation.
Yeah, exactly.
You have
And
to leave with pay. Like what?
shouldn't the cops be the one? Like, if they commit a crime, they should be made an example of worse than
Yeah.
anybody.
And like you see a lot of police using force when there really doesn't need to be.
Yeah, well, that's true too. And we've seen some cops do some crazy stuff to head shops before. Downstairs in our head shop, they've come through and smashed our bongs before and taken stuff, shut us all down several times. But this is a particularly interesting little video here, and I will say no more about it. Marius, let's play the video.
Good evening, Jim. The use of undercover informants is a common police technique used to bring charges against suspects not inclined to deal directly with cops. But often, the undercover agent is a shady character facing his own charges. That makes him motivated to give police what they want, whether the suspect has done something wrong or not. Donald Andrews Jr. operates a so-called smoke shop on Mohawk Avenue in Scotia. It sells incense and other smoking paraphernalia, legal stuff, but material that might also be repurposed for other illicit activities. Scotia and Schenectady County Police became suspicious and targeted Andrews' shop, sending an undercover informant in twice in March. The second time, Andrews' attorney, Kevin Lebrand, does play-by-play that appears to show the informant planting, then photographing crack cocaine that led to Andrews' arrest.
Donald turns, he comes in, places the crack on the counter, crack which under federal sentencing guidelines would get him 4 years in jail. Under New York state law would get him 2 to 7 years in jail. There are 7 cameras in plain view in Andrews' small store. Here's a second clear angle. He walks in, places the crack cocaine on the counter. Members of the Schenectady chapter of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference viewed the apparent framing of an African-American businessman and were outraged.
It was a setup, and I believe that he was racially profiled and targeted, and it would be easy for them to say that he was selling drugs because he was black.
Now, neither the Schenectady County Sheriff nor the Scotia Village Police Chief were available to be interviewed about the apparent planting of evidence. By phone, the sheriff acknowledged proper procedures were not followed, but denied his investigators purposely framed the suspect. The sheriff blamed the informant, who has taken flight. Andrews was arrested but released when he was able to get police to look at the multiple camera angles. He's taken the first step at filing a lawsuit and was not made available today by his attorney. Bill Lambton, News Channel 13.
Wow. So, crazy video there of him dropping it off on the counter.
Yeah, that was intense.
Busted. Yeah, that's pretty insane that these cops, we'll see what happens to this guy. That was a pretty brazen example. But you notice how in the beginning of the news clip, I don't know how many people caught this, but the announcer himself really almost editorializing there without any facts, saying that sometimes cops themselves are just corrupt. Now, and what he is insinuating is that this guy did the whole thing himself just to try and, get some wins with the guys above or whatever for, actually finding somebody. But maybe there's more to it than that. It's possible that there's somebody else involved other than just the low entry officer guys. I mean, I think this is actually probably a systematic and a really bad problem that happens quite often, not just something that's a one-time thing or something. They plant drugs on people all the time.
I don't think you can do that type of thing without it being just a one-time thing. I don't think you could just be like, yeah,
right.
Not possible for it to be.
Right, exactly. Well, they do this stuff all the time because they really want to get these guys out of the system. Awesome, good to see you guys. Yeah, no, this is, and I'm not saying in this particular case there's any evidence that I know of that, any higher-ups had anything to do with this, but I hate how these journalists instantly try and put this point in your mind, and it doesn't seem to be supported by the facts necessarily. It just seems to be editorializing to me, but it's to frame it so that it's in a certain way, that you're just going to blame the cop, and there's no problem with the force or anything, it's just this one lone officer who's like...
I think it's more than just the one officer, definitely.
No, it's definitely a problem. You see a lot of examples of police framing people with drugs. It seems to be a pretty common thing. So I guess those were the two I wanted to show about other news items. Now we do have some Justin Trudeau videos that include Mr. Dana Larsen as well, and there's actually been a lot of press recently because of Justin's comments. So I'm going to play Justin's video and some of the press that goes with it. But before we do that, and of course then we're going to bring out our Liberal boys as well. But before we do that, we're going to bring out Van from VanCity Medicinals. Van, you want to come cruise? And we'll bring you back on.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe we can get the system set up here. I don't know, Marius, do you think is that working at all? Can you try and possibly get it to work? I guess there's nothing you can do.
It's just a white screen.
It's just a white screen. Maybe reboot the computer or something and see if that takes care of it. And make sure that that hard drive is actually plugged in properly, maybe.
All right.
Van, how you doing, man?
All right, there you go.
Oh, look at that. Now, we missed 420 when we were in that video, so happy belated 420, everybody.
You betcha.
What are we smoking on here?
That's some Bubba. Some nice Bubba Green.
Very nice, very nice. Thanks,
Thank you.
man.
Thank you.
So, VanCity Medicinals. I see your sign every time I drive by on Kingsway there.
Thank you.
It's right on the corner. You can't miss it. You got two big signs poking right out there.
You betcha.
Everybody that drives by sees it. You got the Rasta colors going on. You want to hold your sign up there and
Sure.
show them the logo? And
Announcing our grand opening on August the 9th.
you can even bring it a little closer if you want.
August the 9th, starting at noon till 6, we'll have live entertainment as well as free pizza and a pop for all that attend. We'll also have
Hey,
the
we'll get you
lady.
talking to the mic there.
We'll also have the lady there that's teaching our health and wellness classes. We have health and nutrition classes starting after the grand opening
It's running a
on
bit.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
It's running a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got a lighter here. And there's an ashtray if you want to take care of any business. Cool. So this is the grand opening. Now you guys are actually open right now, but this is the big celebration.
We
kind
are,
of
yeah.
thing.
We had some things to finish before we had our grand opening, but our clients, our patients and clients wanted us to go ahead and open the doors early, right?
Right.
Still while we were finishing the back end. But everything's up and running now. As of the grand opening, the health and wellness sessions will be on Tuesdays and Thursdays, as well as a movie night. When we get this website within the next week or two, this website will be up and running. So on Mondays and Wednesdays, the people will go on the website and vote first, second, third choice movies. And then from 6 to 8 is the first one, from 8 to 10 the second one, and the third one's from 10 to midnight, right?
Oh, I see.
Come in, you get our little hemp-infused popcorn in a pop, $3.50, you know what I mean? Like,
Nice, very cool.
we hang out, we network. The ladies that are running the health and wellness, one of the ladies is battling cancer. She just went through a double mastectomy. The other lady is a certified nutritionalist. And we're right across the street from Famous Foods. So when they teach these health sessions, they'll be asking the participants if they want to go across the street. They'll show them the fruits and vegetables that they're juicing. You know, the raw cannabis juicing is just one thing, but we're talking other herbs and remedies for ailments, right?
Right, for sure. Now, I wanted to bring you on because you're one of a lot of new dispensaries that are opening here in the city. It seems like we're just hammering them off every month. There's new ones.
Kingsway Cannabis Corridor, man.
I know, and I love seeing it. And the police here in Vancouver seem to have a bit of a dilemma or a predicament because they've allowed these dispensaries to open for 15 years, and they can't really stop them or go after some of them and leave the other ones. So they're kind of in a bit of a gray area pickle because it's not, none of these dispensaries are actually legal according to the law, or at the very best, it's a very gray area because of sort of, you know, these back idea loopholes. It really is illegal, though, of course, ultimately. And at any time, I mean, there was an article in this issue of the Georgia Straight right here,
of course,
talking about how Stephen Harper may want to go after the dispensaries and shut them down. Now, this is obviously something that must be on your mind. Is that something that you thought about before setting up?
Well, because we have in-house growers, like people that have personal production licenses, it is an issue and a big issue, right? These, the government's proposal that the grower be the one to decide who does and doesn't have access. When you have a physician's form, you've got to go to him, and they don't want to have the hassle of dealing with 3,000 clients, you know, understand?
Right.
Or have inconsistencies in medication, blah, blah, blah. It's better for them to have a central location, as well as for the masses, where not everybody has the capacity to jump in a car and go see a grower, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so go to them. So it's better to have a central location where people that need and are seeking the benefits of medicinal marijuana have a central location, you know what I'm saying, where it's easy for them, but they can also go there and network with other people. We have monitors there with ongoing international educational and about legislation around the world with cannabis, right? Like the things that's happening in Israel and Brazil, as well as Spain. But the bigger issue is the masses. We need to motivate the people here that talk about, oh, the government, you know, it's illegal. How are we going to change the law? Well, to change the law, you got to get off the couch and vote. Let's get behind Dana Larsen and the people at Sensible BC, and get this thing done.
Yeah.
You know, you can say, yeah, you want to see social change. Well, make it happen. Make life happen. Vote. Vote in your riding where you make a difference. Dana will allude to this.
Yeah. Dana will be on to talk about Sensible BC and what's happening there. It's really cool to see.
But now
this
is the
happening in
time,
province.
brother. Hey,
Yeah.
now is the time.
It really is.
You
And
see
I
what's
think
happening
it's
in the
making us
States and around
stronger.
the world. Now is the time to make a statement.
Yeah.
And when you vote, you're not only voting for cannabis culture, you're voting for yourself. You know, if you believe in the medicinal properties, even if you use cannabis recreational is medicinal, because anything that alleviates the stress and strain of life and gives you a better quality of life is medicinal.
That's
Is
right.
it not?
Yeah.
So why
absolutely.
should the government have the right to dictate who does and who doesn't use, you know, cannabis, right?
No, it seems wrong to me, and that's, I guess, why we're doing what we're doing. And that's why it's very cool to see so many of you guys popping up here in the city, because it has a very strong effect. Once these get institutionalized and once these things are here and they're all part of the system, it's very hard to get rid of them. And you guys really are fighting. It's the people who have the balls really to come out and sell pot in a storefront situation or at a place like 420 and Cannabis Day at the art gallery here in the city. The dealers themselves are the ones who are really breaking a lot of ground here. And so I really like talking to David Malma-Levine and other people about dealer dignity and this idea that the dealers themselves are activists, because all the sales that they make are actually contributing. It's like Mark always said, it's overgrowing the government in a way, right?
Yeah, but it
Taking
transcends
action.
deeper than that, because I tell my patients, don't you understand? You too are part of the protest, because when you support your local dispensary, you're standing up for the truth. Dispel propaganda and embrace the truth. Let's all vote, get out, and get this thing done.
Very cool, man. So you guys are having your grand opening on August 9th.
We are.
Now, is there any anticipation of trouble with the police at all? I know in Vancouver we've had one dispensary bust at the very least in recent years, and maybe there's been more. But they've been sort of questionable. There was
I
complaints
just had a
in the
recent
area.
visit from Officer Spadler from the OCU,
yes.
Organized Crime Unit.
Yeah.
And one dispensary, supposedly he tried to tell me that one dispensary sent him to my dispensary to check my paperwork. But I said, regardless, hi, my name is Van and we're an open book society. Here's our certificates as well on the wall. If there's a problem, if there was a certificate or a business license for dispensaries, we would have it. And so he asked us, well, who here has a federal ticket? I said, I do. I have 292 plant permit, and everyone here has an MMAR for 400 plants or more. Officer, would you like to see it? And I turned around like that, and he went, oh, no. Everything's in order here, sir. I hope all the dispensaries have their paperwork in order as you.
Wow.
And I said, thank you, sir. You have a good day.
Now,
Free the weed, I said to him.
you got to give it to these Vancouver police officers and the whole department, because down at 420 recently, or actually it was Cannabis Day, when we were there, the police officers were walking by looking at all the pot displays and everything, and I talked to the officers there, and they said that their higher-ups had drawn a line in the sand essentially, and that we will not see anything but smiles coming from them. And so, I'm so happy to see the police come down and check it out, and then say, and virtually give you a pass, and say, you know what, you have your stuff in order, you look like a respectable team here, and it's not, that's the way it should be done.
It's funny because I was just laughing over there. I was just thinking when you were talking about the young Liberals and Justin Trudeau making a statement. Well, he was on Punjabi radio yesterday. But when I was sitting back there on Saturday, the police came screaming up to our front door opposite of the traffic and said, hey, you guys go inside and lock your door. There was a armed robbery. One of you guys got robbed up Fraser Street, blah, 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 right?
Oh, wow.
I said, really? I said, thank you, officer. He goes, hey, just doing my job. So, I mean, this officer took his time to come down to my shop to say, pull your door in and lock your door. You know what I'm saying?
And it was another medical marijuana dispensary that was hit?
Yeah, up on Fraser.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So these guys are looking out.
Yeah,
Well,
I was telling people last year, we were worried about their position. This year they got our back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've spoken with other people that are corrections officers, as well as people that are in the sheriff's department. And they actually like the ability of a naturopath to sign their paper, go to take the physician's form and go to a dispensary and access medical marijuana and not have to worry about it affecting a federal job such as corrections, the sheriff's department, and this chick that works, she's works in the courts, right?
Right.
Court reporter. But still, for these people to fear it like they're the Gestapo, And then my postman is saying, well, with the changes that Sherry, how does it work? If it comes through the mail and
Right. I was going to ask you the same question, actually. With the changes to the MMAR system, the total, they're going to remove it completely. It's going to be the MMPR now.
Yeah.
Now, is that a worry for you guys in terms of the dispensary? Because what the new rules say is nobody will be allowed to sell it in a storefront situation, and that you'll only be able to sell it through the mail, but you'd have to go through these rigorous tests first, security checks and this whole system. It's going to cost a lot of money to get
Yeah,
up
but
to
they
code.
want the growers to be the one dispensing it once the physician
That's right.
gives them a letter. You take it to the grower, right?
Well, and
most dispensaries have in-house growers. So what? those growers are going to be the ones receiving the physician's papers and dispensing it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, probably.
So what difference is it going to be then now, except that we're not under one location, a central location, which is convenient and both makes logistical sense for people that are suffering from ailments seeking medical marijuana.
Will you try and adapt to the new rules and try and become one of the groups that are actually dispensing marijuana through the mail system?
Well, we will, but we'll leave that up to Kirk.
Right.
We'll talk to him. You
Right.
know, that's why we got a mouthpiece. And
Right. Well, and I think maybe a lot of the dispensaries ought to get together, and I think with maybe some of the groups that are there already, there's like Cam CD. I don't know if you know about that.
yeah, well,
group.
you, I don't know. If you see our storefront. It's for the people, by the people. A lot of these dispensaries, they're run by people that have deep pockets and they have different agendas.
Right. Well, that's true as well.
That's why when you walk in our dispensary, you don't take a number. You're a member and not a number at VanCity Medicinals. You know, you come in, you get serviced. There's a lounge, and you know you don't hear now serving 14 in lane 3. You're not cattle. You're patients. You're coming to seek the medicinal properties of a plant, but as well socialize with people in network. You understand? It's all that.
Sure, man.
That is about healing too.
Well, the
Because we
reason
didn't all do it on our own. You know.
No kidding. It is. It is all about healing. Exactly. Social networking and learning about this plant from other people is also very important, because when you're by yourself, and you know, when it comes to cannabis and medicine, strain selection and you know, knowing what type of plant is good for your ailment is very important.
Exactly.
Because all different types of pot are different. So.
But that's all about educating the people. Most people don't know that we have extracts that are devoid psychoactive ingredient of THC that contains CNBs, CNDs, and terpenes that are good for your ligaments, cartilage, tendons in your joints, your systems. They fight cancers. You know, we've got Simpson oil, we've got Phoenix tears, you know, things like this, where the government needs to back us so that guys like Dr. Paul Hornby and those that are inclined to take a federal research and development grant and actually get into this, find out why these things work, and you know, so that when a dispensary owner opens up a dispensary, his staff is educate the people. This strain contains, it's high in C and Bs. You want to use this for this. This is high in C and Ds. Use this for this. Or, oh, use this tincture. Yeah, it goes through under your tongue and goes into your McCaskill lining of your mouth. People, huh? What? Oh, you mean I don't have to smoke cannabis to feel the medicinal effects? No. Do you know you can spray it under your tongue? You can rub it on your skin. This lady come to us. She had a big skin melanoma that her doctor had been treating with this stuff that was god awful. It was black, and her grandkids couldn't play with her. She couldn't function. She had her quality of life was just the shits. Pardon me. Whatever.
Yeah, that's all right. It's okay.
But anyways,
Free speech here.
she came in. She got some goodness cream. She used it for three and a half, just a little bit under a month. She came back to me, called me. She wanted to write a testimonial, right?
Right.
So I mean, those are the things, right? That those testimonials. Hopefully, the politicians in Ottawa or the powers that be can read these testimonials that Dr. Paul Hornby are, submitting to them, and open with an open mind see the medicinal properties of cannabis. That we're not a bunch of hippies sitting around underneath a tree trying to get high. If it was that way, I'd be over in the park. You understand? But when I see people come into our shop, all bent and distorted, and the first thing they do is go over and do 2 hoots off a vaporizer, and they stop twitching from Tourette's and can carry on a meaningful conversation. I don't care whether the government gives me the license to dispense cannabis to an ill individual or not. God put that plant on earth for us.
Absolutely, my friend.
Have a good day.
Well, bless you for doing it, man. Absolutely. And thanks for coming on today.
Y'all come out to our grand opening.
I wanted to have you on
Be
because
happy.
I know you're a good guy, and we've talked a few times at
Let's
a few
get
different
behind
events.
Sensible BC and motivate some people.
VanCity Medicinals.
VanCity
What's the address there? 1594 Kingsway?
1594 Kingsway. It's at the corner of Kingsway and Perry Street, across from Famous Foods.
There you are. All right, Van
One
from
love.
VanCity. Thank you, my
Peace out.
friend. Great interview. Yeah, a lot of these dispensaries in Van. Yeah, and as you said, some of them. No, that was great, man. That was excellent. Some are better than others. So yeah, I want to next. I think we did have Jason show up here. What's up, Jason? How you doing, man? You don't mind hanging out for a little bit, do you? Well, we have our Liberal crew on here. All right. Well, I think that's who we should have up next, boys. What's up?
Hi, how's it going?
It's going good. Mark, what's shaking?
Jeremiah, I'm
Mark
doing
Elias.
well.
Russ Miller.
How's it going?
Oh, the handshake. What's up, Russ? Good to see you guys.
Yeah, you too, man.
Yeah, besides being pretty good friends of the show, you guys have been working as young Liberals for a while.
Liberals, we're not young.
You're not
liberals.
lying. Well, you guys are old Liberals
I'm on
then.
the cusp now. I'm
He's
on the
on the
cusp.
cusp.
Is that right?
I'm
I
There's
see.
like a year left.
What is it actually? What is the rules for being a young Liberal as opposed to
the
a
age
regular
limit
Liberal?
is 26. So if you're 26 years old, 14 years old to 26 years old, you're a young Liberal.
I see.
And you just
I'm
get cheap
turning
fees
37.
for convention and that kind of thing.
I see.
That's
It's
the
just like a
biggest
student
benefit.
discount.
Yeah,
kind
they
of
give
thing.
you a big student
Yeah,
discount.
big discount.
I see. Okay. Well, and I think they have that for probably all the different political parties as well. Like.
No, they don't actually.
don't?
We're the only party that has commissions.
They have youth. We have a commission.
Like the
structure.
NDP
Yeah.
kids or something.
No, they
yeah.
don't have NDP kids.
We have an actual commission structure, so
Yeah.
we put like a youth commission actually at the table of our provincial and national boards.
We actually have
Cool.
3 other commissions. We have
Wow,
the
that's wild.
Aboriginal Peoples Commission as well. We have the Women's Commission, and we've also got the Seniors Commission. I think you have to be over 65 to be a senior in the Seniors Commission, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're all very active. You know.
Excellent. It's good to see. And I know you two have had some success in the back rooms, I guess, or in ways of influencing people to what you is an important cause to you guys, and that's ending prohibition and legalizing marijuana. And you guys have been working very hard within the party to push those ideas. And there's been some recent huge success within the party with
Fruition.
the policy paper.
Right?
Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah,
Hard
that's
work
right.
definitely pays off.
Exactly.
That's the message.
So
on that
maybe
one.
tell people a little bit about, before we get into the Justin Trudeau stuff and we'll play a video, tell people about the Liberal policy paper and what role you guys played in working some of that stuff out.
Well, neither one of us wrote the paper. We'll give the credit to Sangeeta, and who is the former policy chair again? David Herford. They wrote the policy paper. Of course, they've consulted people in the communities. And basically the paper is a framework of how legalized marijuana would look like in Canada. What the laws would look like. You can ask us some questions
Well, yeah.
on what's in there. Sure.
Well, I'd like to know.
Big
I mean,
comprehensive
big
document.
comprehensive
It is.
document,
It's
you
and it's
know,
actually
so
one of
there's
the
a lot
most.
of different specifics.
It's probably the most comprehensive document we've seen on the subject from any Canadian political party ever.
Yeah.
And that's what was so fascinating about it. And you guys launched it just up the street here, which was great.
Yes, we did.
I wanted to ask you maybe just about the difference between full legalization and decriminalization. A lot of the other parties have supported the idea of decriminalizing marijuana, but of course Justin in his comments said he wants full legalization, and in the Liberal policy paper they approach it in that same direction. Why is that?
Because decriminalization, in our opinion, is ineffective. You know, the main things are we want to keep cannabis out of the hands of children. You know, that's the first thing. Secondly, we want to keep it out of the hands of the organized criminals. I mean, they're making a lot of money on this. There's a lot of violence, especially here in BC. Sometimes it's a little quiet now, but the violence does come in waves. And cannabis is a big factor. The prohibition of cannabis is a big factor that contributes to this gang violence. And taking that money away, taking away that source from them,
That's the point.
you know, you will see less gangsterism in this country, and that's something that we're.
Man,
you know.
it's so good to hear a political party embracing that concept.
No.
And because we have on the other side the Conservatives, and they actually were after Trudeau came out and made his comments just recently, the Conservatives sent out a press release attacking them. And I said,
Oh yeah, I
now.
can actually quote you. Jenny Byrne of the Conservative Party of Canada. She basically said Trudeau lacks judgment to be Prime Minister. The truth is our prime minister is the one who's lacking judgment to be prime minister. I'll name off a few reasons, just recent ones. All the premiers are against the mysterious federal jobs program. Are you trying to tell me all 13 premiers of different political stripes are wrong, Mr. Harper? Sorry, you're the one that's lacking judgment there. Another one here. All the premiers actually want a public inquiry on the missing Aboriginal women. The Harper government's saying no way. Led by Harper. Another bad judgment call. 2.5 million lakes and rivers in Canada just a little over a year ago were protected. Now it's down to 82. You know what I mean? That's it's a bad judgment call. Brutal. Another thing, I mean, let's talk about economics here. Paul, the Prime Minister is an economist, so he says. Right. We'll talk about the carbon tax. We've had a carbon tax in BC for 5 years. Today, the evidence has come out to prove that it hasn't been a hit on the economy, it hasn't been a job killer, and we've actually lowered carbon emissions in BC by 15% over the last 5 years. Came out today. Harper says a carbon tax is a job killer and it's going to ravage our economy. The opposite has happened over here, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm only scratching the surface, but the Prime Minister lacks judgment.
There's no shortage of things we could pick out about Stephen Harper that are fucking ridiculous.
They are.
Yeah, these guys are against every bit of logic that ever could possibly be out there. I mean, if the scientist says that it's true and there's proof of it, the Conservatives are pretty much 99% against it.
Well, you can see in that press release too, like they proved our point for us. They said marijuana is a big part of organized crime.
I know.
No doubt. That's what we're talking about here. So just stick with the status quo. That makes sense. Right?
You know, it sounds like Mr. Mackey from South Park because they just keep repeating that drugs are bad. Okay? Exactly. That's what it literally says. It says marijuana is bad and that's why it's illegal or something like right along those lines.
Yeah, it's true.
It's just rhetoric. So yeah, these guys, you know, they obviously know who their base is and their base doesn't care for facts really, and they don't really look into issues that much probably, or they have so much damn money that they don't care about the facts because the big business guys are on their side in the Conservative Party. So it's both sides of it, right?
Exactly.
Well, I want to play one of the videos of Justin, Marius. Can you bring up this Sun, speaking of conservative rich guys, Sun TV, Sun News. This is the Fox News North. And now they're pretty interesting. They actually cover the pot issue pretty decently sometimes.
I've noticed that. I've noticed.
Sometimes
and so does Fox News.
Yeah.
Good. Any publicity is good publicity.
I don't really watch Fox News, so I can't tell you. I think the stuff I catch is
it's
on
great.
It's entertainment.
It's great. It's so fun to watch.
If you want to just like be jaw dropped to the floor, watch the morning show on Fox with those idiots that sit there and just yabber at each other. Oh my God, it's just absolutely brutal.
It's gibberish, just inane talking.
No, and it's rude, but it's scary, some of it, because they like lace in all this like super right wing propaganda and like anti-Muslim sentiment, and like it's just really bad. It's hard to believe it, and you can. It's very transparent as well. You can tell that that's what they're doing. So Marius, that Sun TV one. Now I wouldn't say that Sun TV is as bad as Fox News, but Jody has been on Sun TV a few times. Jody Emery. And she was on the Michael Corrin show, and he was great to her the first couple times, but on the last episode of the show, he was a real idiot to her and just had nothing but like brutally bad comments. And then he got eaten alive on Twitter after it, and he was really upset about it and said all these mean things about Jody, or just said a bunch of stuff. So you know, it turned into a messy scene. But
that's what they thrive off, right? They thrive off that kind of division and.
That's right. And I think this clip will illustrate that they also thrive off of massive eyebrow movements. Massive eyebrows. This guy, this newscaster on Sun News, man, this guy looks like a buzzard. He looks like he seriously will swoop down into your yard and steal your puppy. I think I said that.
And that's just his eyebrows.
Yeah, just the brows. No, okay, throw this guy on, Marius. Sun News, Justin Trudeau.
All right,
Welcome back. Well, Justin Trudeau is giving 2 green thumbs up to the idea of legalizing marijuana. During a speech in pot-friendly British Columbia, the federal Liberal leader endorsed the legalization, taxation, and regulation of the drug. The reason? Well, he wants to keep it away from your kids. Jessica Murphy is following this story, and she joins us now live in the Parliamentary Bureau. Now, Jessica, keep it away from kids. Is that really it? I mean, there's a lot of aspects to this whole legalization idea. It's been tossed around since the early 70s in this country.
It has been tossed around for decades. In fact, starting with the Liberals back in 1969, actually. I'll get into that a little later. First off, let's actually listen to Justin Trudeau. This was a clip posted on YouTube earlier this week where he does come out in support of pot's legalization. Here he is speaking to a group of Liberal supporters out in British Columbia. Take a listen.
I see my friend waving a sign about decriminalizing cannabis. I'll take that as a question. I'm actually not in favor of decriminalizing cannabis. I'm in favor of legalizing it, tax and regulate. It's one of the only ways to keep it out of the hands of our kids, because the current war on drugs, the current model is not working. We have to use evidence and science to make sure that we're moving forward on that.
Now, I will note Alex Trudeau has not always been such an enthusiastic backer of pot legalization. Back during the Liberal leadership race, in fact, just last winter, he actually said, quote, he was a huge supporter of decriminalization. He did also leave the door open to explore legalization, to exploring legalization a little further down the road. And back in 2012, actually, the Liberal Party was debating during its policy convention whether or not to support legalization. Now, on the convention floor, Trudeau was asked about legalization, and then he was expressing concerns about legalization's potential impact on health, also concerns about its impact on trade, for example, with the United States. So we actually went and asked Justin Trudeau last night to explain his point of view, explain why he supported legalization now. He said, look, it was voted on a year and a half ago by the party's grassroots. That's why he's supporting its position. Here he is, Trudeau speaking on pot last night.
The current approach on drugs is not working, and kids in high schools have easy access to drugs, far too easy access across the country. If we actually control it and regulate it, then we actually have a better way of making sure that anyone who does purchase it in a regulated environment is of age to make that decision, similar to alcohol or cigarettes. It's an easier way to keep it out of the hands of our kids where pot does the most harm.
Now, you're right, Alex. This has been on something that's been talked about in Canada for decades. It was, in fact, Justin Trudeau's father, Pierre Elliott Trudeau. When he was Prime Minister back in 1969, he actually launched the first Royal Commission to look into ways of dealing with non-medicinal drug use in Canada. There was, as I noted, a Royal Commission. Yoko Ono and John Lennon even testified at that commission. And actually, the commission found that essentially legalization, the benefits of it outweighed enforcement. So maybe he's following in his father's footsteps there, Alex.
All right, interesting. Thank you, Jessica.
You're welcome.
Are we on the air again?
I think we are now.
All right. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, while Jeremiah is taking his toke, Russ and I, we actually had a quick conversation with Justin yesterday, and it will be on the platform, the legalization, taxation, and regulation of cannabis in the election.
It will be.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my.
Everything that he's talking about, any policy things that he talks about between now and the election, is going to be on the platform. So.
Wow. Did you hear that, DML?
No,
Trudeau says he's throwing pot on the platform.
It is. It's on.
Legalization is on the platform.
Yes, absolutely.
There you go.
Good, but he still considers it a bad substance.
Well, but hey,
ruin your brain cells. He said.
David said, if you can't hear him on the microphone, he said he still considers it a bad substance. But David, I think that he's probably maybe just edging into this. He doesn't want to put people off too hard with it and come out and say marijuana is the greatest thing in the universe. It's going to save the world.
But there's also a third way.
There's also something called political pragmatism.
Yeah, but the pragmatic approach, I think, would be the truth, where he says it's not good nor bad. It depends on how you use it. It's like a hammer.
Right.
You can build a house with a hammer, or you can bash someone's head with a hammer.
Well,
but
yeah.
talking about inherent harms is so 2000.
Got to take things a little slow sometimes, though, when it
I
comes
know.
to federal politics.
Politicians and judges
and I think he's doing the right
disappoint
thing
me.
here.
I have expectations of humanity from them.
Right. Well, you're asking a politician for humanity? Good Lord.
Oh,
That's
well,
like,
you know, Justin's pretty human. You know what? Actually, he did talk yesterday to a whole crowd of us, a bunch of supporters. Listen, you know, we're going to be doing politics differently in Canada. Right now, Canadians, you know, he actually said this. Canadians are not a cynical people. But when it comes to politicians, Canadians are very cynical about them. I mean, we hear it all the time. Being insiders in the party, we get out talking to the public. People are cynical about our politicians. So the way we're going to be doing politics under our new leader, which is great because this is something that all Liberals in the last few years, I mean, while we were even in minority situations in the opposition, we knew we had to change the way we deliver politics. We need to get people more engaged. And we did this in the past. I mean, Canadians wanted a national health care plan. This is what Canadians want. Yes, the Liberal Party delivered it, but it was Canadians that actually delivered it to themselves, telling us what to do. And we want to deliver what Canadians want. It's the same thing with the flag. It's the same thing with the Canada Pension Plan. Canadians brought this to themselves. We just happen to be the vehicle that it was delivered through, and we want to continue to do that in the future.
And you know, for all his flaws, he's the only leader that's going to legalize marijuana.
Yeah.
He's the only leader that said he's going to legalize cannabis.
The only one.
Mulclair hasn't said it.
No.
Harper's not going to do it.
No.
So we can talk about the nuances of the situation.
Yeah, Mulcair says...
But it's happening.
He actually, when he first came out, the first thing he said about it was that it causes mental illness, and he wasn't even supporting decriminalization at the time. And then they quickly said, oh, you got to say the right thing here. And so he switched it up, and now he supports the decriminalization. But he definitely hasn't come out anywhere near, pardon me, anywhere near like what Justin has.
What he's trying to do is position himself in the new center as he sees it. He sees taking a cautious approach, trying to sell Canadians like decriminalization is the safe approach to doing it, somewhere in between prohibition and outright legalization. And it just doesn't pan out at the end of the day.
So now when he talks about legalizing pot or getting behind the drive to do that, is there an actual plan to do that, say if the Liberals do take government, say in a minority situation, something like that? How would we actually get the job done?
Actually, whether we're in a minority situation or a majority situation, we still have one problem, and the problem is actually the Conservative majority in the Senate. Even if we end up in a majority government and we pass a bill to legalize, tax, and regulate cannabis in Canada, it's going to be blocked by the Conservative Senate, okay? We know this. So this is actually our next problem that we're going to focus on in the next couple of years. We're actually going to talk to the senators, get the Liberal senators to talk to their Conservative friends in the Senate, see if there's going to be any support from any more progressive Conservative senators. Hopefully they're out there. I'm calling on them right now to kind of look at our policy, look at our paper, come up with their own ideas, you know, but we really need to get some senators on the Conservative side on board in order for it to happen.
Or just abolish the Senate completely.
Abolishing the Senate, that's a touchy subject.
Another time, another place.
Another time, another place.
Yeah, I actually agree with getting rid of it or changing it so that I would say, why not turn it into a proportional representational system? So you elect it as the proportional system instead of in a first past the post system.
You know, I agree with you that it needs to be reformed. I mean, I have my own personal ideas. I actually think that the senators should be appointed by the premiers of their province and have a set 10-year term limit for their term in the Senate, you know, but that's my idea. There's a lot of ideas.
It's the old American way of doing it. That's how they did their Senate in the U.S.
That's how they did it in the U.S. It worked before, you know. And the whole point about having senators is we actually want the brightest, the best people in the country to be our senators, because they're the ones that are going to look at the laws that the House of Commons are trying to pass, and they're supposed to give it a second review, a second look, and tell us whether it's a good thing for the country or a bad thing for the country. And though they're supposed to send it back to us and tell us reform it this way or that way. That's not happening right now. The Senate is very partisan, and that's something that the Liberal Party wants to change. We know it needs to be reformed. The question is how, and we're obviously open to ideas as to how, and we want to hear them all.
Just to take that and run with it. I mean, my personal preference on the Senate would be to honestly almost do nothing to it. Okay, I think the most important thing for the Senate is that Canadians actually care about who goes into the Senate. Because the Senate is set up, just like Mark said, it's a place of sober second thought. It's a place where there's supposed to be some sort of a kind of a non-partisan, non-political look at it.
Yep.
Up above the House of Commons, where all the fighting and the bickering takes place, and rightfully so, that's a place for it. But the Senate's supposed to be different. And there are a lot of Canadians in this country who would like to serve their country. We would benefit greatly from having them serve our country, but they're just not cut out for the cut and thrust of electoral politics. And if we have an appointed Senate, where Canadians care about who's going in there, and it's not political hacks and bagmen and whatnot.
Yes.
It's kind of the same way the
Taking
Supreme Court's
bribes under the
appointed, and
table.
Canadians care about whether their Supreme Court justices are nonpartisan to a degree. I mean, there is still partisanship, but to a much lesser extent than the Senate. I think that would go a lot further. Just to turn it back on Canadians and say, hey,
That's probably
care about it a little
the best
more.
defense I've ever heard of the Senate, and I appreciate it because I completely agree with you. I think that there needs to be that, as you said, it's a sober center of that thought process where they aren't affected because they are appointed.
Yeah.
They don't.
We
as
might
you said,
lose that if it's elected.
And so I like that second defense as well, that there's just some people who aren't cut out for the election process, and they might be good at running things in our country, and we might want to have them serve our country. Yeah, I do like that idea.
I would much rather have Peter Mansbridge in the Senate than Mike Duffy.
Oh,
you know
God,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Well, I wouldn't like.
This caliber,
I don't want
right?
either of them in there. Didn't Mansbridge go to the Bilderberg?
Personal preference.
They all.
I don't think journalists should be appointed to the Senate anyways, because journalists have spent their careers questioning politicians.
Well, I don't think journalists should go to Bilderberg summits either.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think any of them should, and in secret, and they don't report on it. I actually phoned the CBC about that when I heard that Peter Mansbridge. There's a bunch of photos that came out of Peter Mansbridge there, and I believe Gordon Campbell was there with him. I think they were there together, and they were in the photos together. I could be wrong about that, but somebody has a question here. So, VC Freedom says, Jeremiah, can you ask if the liberal legalization means repealing cannabis from the CDSA?
From the criminal, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yes. The answer is a nice, simple yes.
There you go.
We want to end the prohibition on cannabis. The policy paper even states that we're going to give people who have been convicted of cannabis offenses, small offenses for possession and stuff, they're going to be given pardons, or their records are going to be completely erased, okay, regarding their cannabis convictions.
That's
if they
important.
have other convictions that are not cannabis related, obviously those convictions will not get erased, but the cannabis ones on the possession will be. I personally am pushing for all cannabis offenses. Some people are caught up trafficking cannabis and they get convictions for that. All cannabis convictions, in my opinion, should be wiped clean once the prohibition ends. And again, the paper isn't finalized. We do want feedback from the public.
Actually, we'll be starting, I just got word of this today, but next week we're going to start the second draft of the paper.
Yes.
It's going to be coming out in the next
I
little
hope that's
while
in
in
the second.
consultation.
I've been pushing hard for that, so maybe it'll be in the.
Very cool.
So we'll have events. That's what I'd like to see. Some events. Bring everybody out, and
We're actually going to have an event tomorrow. Yeah, the Liberal Party of Canada in Vancouver. That's the 5 Vancouver ridings. We're going to have a barbecue that's open to the public. Burgers and hot dogs. You can come out and meet Hetty Fry and other Liberal insiders like myself.
Fry up some burgers with Hetty Fry?
Yeah, exactly, for sure. It's going to be at Cambie and 49th. Just basically, if you're working your way south, go west. Even if you're working your way north, go west on 49th off of Cambie. 1 block in, you'll see big Liberal tents. Hopefully we get to see some of you there.
We'll make it a barbecue.
Cool. Yeah, is there like a smoking area?
It's a park, You're not allowed to smoke in parks in Vancouver anymore, so I think
that's a problem. I know, and they, in that bylaw, they actually added the word herbs.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Really? Yeah, they did. Yeah, which was obviously aimed at marijuana.
It was.
Hey, that's all right.
Sure.
It's in the law.
It's in the law. It's a bylaw. So no smoking at the parks.
That's right.
Yeah,
what a shame that is. What a shame. Of all places to smoke, it seems like that's the place to do it, because you're outside and it's like, I don't know. But call me crazy. I don't know.
I will then call you crazy.
You can call me crazy. Well, I really appreciate having you guys on the show, and I appreciate the work that you guys are doing within the Liberal Party. And actually, now tell us, you're the Riding Association president for Vancouver East, right?
Yes.
Right, and Russ, what are you?
I'm the vice president.
You're the vice president. There you go. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to make
dynamic
sure people
duo
knew
here.
Drop some actual credentials
dynamic
here.
Duo.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you guys are a dynamic duo.
Yeah. Elected officers of the Liberal Party.
Elected officers.
There you go. For what it's worth.
Do they give you like a cool uniform or anything?
No, nothing.
Well, you know what? They're
red
thankless
sash.
Jobs.
Red sash.
I wish.
We just
should
reach
vote.
out to the community.
Can you guys put that on the table? Getting you guys some red sashes? Like that would be. Yeah. I want a bill that does that pass through. There should be a new policy paper around red sashes.
That would be great. Hey?
Yeah.
I think it should only be for the presidents, though, right?
Maybe a red one with gold trim for the guy that's a little lower or something.
Okay, I can live with that.
Or maybe
get
you
some
should
hats
get the gold
made or
trim.
something.
Definitely
like Shriner hats.
Yes, of different sizes, and the Prez gets to wear a big
Totally,
crazy one,
there you go.
phallic shaped, like a Pope hat or something.
They could be like tent hats, allude to the big red tent that we've got going on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if we're gonna, why not?
Hats with
Politics
tents on
is all theater anyway. We might as well push the limits here.
Why not?
They're all terrible ideas.
I'm hoping that some of the NDP members are going to be watching this today.
They all watch the show.
They all watch the show. Great.
Virtually the entire all the House members.
I know some of the NDP members, and I know more than half of them are in support of our policy. I'm going to urge Thomas Mulcair to basically support our policy as well. I mean, you know what? Sometimes we in the NDP see eye to eye on things, and we're on the same page. And this is one of these occasions that they should be on the same page as us on.
That would be very
hopefully
cool.
we can get that support from them to support our
And Mr.
policy
Mulcair,
on
it's
this.
not too late. Put the ego aside. Just support
For
Trudeau
once,
on it. That's
you
it.
know, like, you
That's
can
all. It's
bring
all.
your
It's all
ego
that needs to
back
happen.
later.
You just need to support Trudeau and just say, Justin's got it
I have to support him
right.
on this one. I definitely have to support him on this one. I'd also, I'd need to look a little deeper at some of the other policies, like the economic policies, which are probably on the neo-liberal side, or
We'll be having our consultation in the next year and a bit before the election comes out. We're going to be putting the platform together. It's important that everybody shows up to these. Well, if you're inclined, show up to the platform consultation process. Make sure that cannabis is an issue at these events all across the country, not just here in BC, not just in Vancouver, but all over the country where we hold them.
Yeah.
And bring your other concerns, bring your other ideas too, because that's what the process is about. It's an open party now. We've totally opened the ranks up. And if you want to,
does that mean
if you want to be an elected liberal insider, right? Like Mark and I, then you have to be a member and you pay your $10 a year. But if you want to vote for our leader in another 20 years once Trudeau's done, then you can just be a supporter. You don't have to pay a thing. If you want to be involved in the policy, you can get involved too. We just come out, make
And
your voice heard.
we're not driven by ideology in the Liberal Party. Everything that all our policies that we come up with are based on evidence and science. Okay, we cannot say that about the Conservatives. The NDP have socialism as their ideology, and I personally have some issues with that, but they do bring up some good ideas sometimes. Both of our competitors, the Conservatives and the NDP, occasionally they have good ideas, and we're not afraid to say, hey,
there's no monopoly on good ideas.
There's no monopoly on good ideas.
We just have the monopoly on implementing them.
Yeah.
Healthcare, CPP, OAS.
Hey,
Well,
the
you've had
flag.
they've
That
had
flag
a-
was us.
They've had a bit of a monopoly on government.
77 of the last 100 years, I think?
Yeah.
The 100 years between
I think it's
1900 and
about
2000?
70, maybe not.
Yeah.
Almost 3/4 of the time we had Liberal government.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, they've done a lot of good things for Canada. That's
But
for
that was
sure.
the past,
well,
right?
and we've definitely seen the contrast since the Conservatives have been in charge. So there you go. I definitely prefer a Liberal government to a Conservative government. I'll tell you that much.
I think most Canadians do. They're starting to get tired of the Conservatives. They have been lacking judgment. I mean, you know what? We have 36 MPs, and all 36 of our MPs in the Liberal Party in our caucus there would make better prime ministers than Harper. And that's the truth, okay? He's lacking judgment. His cabinet ministers, I mean, we remember Vic Tays with his comment regarding the if you're not with us, you're with the child pornographers.
Oh yeah, these
he literally
guys are
slapped every Canadian in the face with that comment,
man, these
you know?
guys are rough.
Bev Voda and her, $13 a glass orange juices that she charged us for, It's like, come on. Well, who's buying $13 a glass orange?
Hey man, I have to have my expensive, crazy, hand-plucked oranges.
Right. Oh, yeah.
That's my one
Peter
thing that I
McKay
have to
with
have.
the helicopter ride.
It's like a $50, yeah, and they, if you add any grapefruits, don't even ask the price.
Yeah.
Insane.
Fly them in fresh.
Every morning, that's right, exactly. A stork brings them in a bag to the porch, flies right in. Yeah, so I guess, how is this done with you guys working on these things behind the scenes? You say you guys are actually talking to Trudeau. What did you say to him, or what did you ask him? Are you pushing the policy, or you actually asked him essentially about campaigning? What did he say specifically?
Well, Russ and I bumped into Trudeau as he got to the event that we were at yesterday. He was actually, we were the first people he talked to. He was still in the vehicle.
Yeah, he was coming in. I just asked him, I said, hey, thanks for what you said thanks for your comment on legalization. That compliments a lot of hard work that we've been doing for a long time here. And I asked him, I said, is it going to be on the platform? And he goes, everything I say goes on the platform, So,
wow. Okay.
To me, that's a commitment that it's going to be on the platform. Right?
Yeah, and Justin won't bullshit us. That's the other thing. He's not going to bullshit Canadians, period.
Right.
He's actually a real person. Yes, he did grow up privileged, okay, but I mean, you can't blame him for that. I wasn't born privileged. I'm not gonna,
well,
right. I'm not gonna, that's
has no
neither,
bearing on what kind of a
no
person
bearing
somebody
on
is
that,
anyway,
okay?
yeah. I mean, it might have some bearing, but it doesn't, you can't generalize about anybody, ever.
No.
And even today, like, on Facebook, there's people that are saying, oh, well, I'm not holding my breath for this, for the Liberals to legalize it and whatnot. And that's fine. You can think that there is a track record, like you and I talked at the Health Expo, there's a track record of that.
That's true.
But you got to keep in mind
this kind of stuff many times in the past, and we've
for the
never
first time we have both the leader and the party on the same side of the legalization issue. And not only that, but it's an idea whose time has come, right?
And
it's here already. You look south of us, it's here already.
Yeah.
So there's no messing about anymore.
In 1969, Prime Minister Trudeau, Pierre Trudeau, Justin's father, wanted cannabis legalized in Canada. The problem was, it was our past members. I wasn't born in 1969 yet, but it was the Liberal members who thought it was too taboo to do. You know what I mean? Now, we don't feel that way because times have changed. It's not 1969 anymore, it's 2013. We have seen what prohibition has done in Canada, in the world, and it's been it's been a detriment all along.
And trust me, this issue was hotly discussed inside the party. I don't know if the camera's close on. You can't see the scars all over my face, but it was hotly discussed.
Right.
And to be quite frank, we won.
Yeah.
And we're gonna move forward.
Yeah.
And
totally
we won the argument inside the party. Which was had after we passed the resolution. Funny enough, people, there's still people who want to put the brakes on it. And
Right,
whatnot.
of course.
But like I said,
But
it's
the
done.
real
The
people
leaders
you
come
gotta
out and
thank,
said
yeah.
he's on board. It's gonna happen. We've been
That's
saying
so
that
fantastic.
for a long time.
And it's so good to
Case
hear that
closed.
from you guys. And now I'm going to try and get confirmation, of course, from the office and see
For sure.
if maybe they'll give a statement or
Go.
something. about
Everybody. I want everybody to
Yeah.
go out and get confirmation. I want
Yeah.
to get 100,000
It'll be-
emails
it'll be
to all
great.
the Liberal offices in the country asking
Yeah.
them if it's for real.
Well,
it'll
and
be for
maybe
real.
we need some more of the pot community on the Liberal bill as well. Maybe we should try and encourage some people to run as Liberals. I mean, when the
That too.
Yeah.
Open
We're
nominations.
having open nominations in every unheld riding.
No party's ever done this, right? Like,
Yeah.
not the open nomination thing, but no party's ever been as open as the Liberal Party is right now. If you want to come in and you want to make a mark on some political party, the easiest way to do that is inside the Liberal Party, because ultimately we're a collection of individuals trying to make our own marks, right?
Wow. And it's interesting to see it because I have a feeling that there's going to be a big swing right back to you guys after this Stephen Harper dark cloud period.
Yeah.
And because people are going to be totally unhappy about what's happened, and also they're not going to really necessarily trust the NDP completely, and they're going to be kind of bitter that the NDP really didn't do anything the entire time or even say anything, and unfortunately in a lot of ways on a federal level right now they've just gone to sleep. But we'll see, maybe the NDP will snap back and actually stand up for what's right. I'm hoping that happens as well.
Well, I was an
member.
NDP supporter when I was
Yeah.
a kid. I never joined the party. I never, went to conventions or anything. But I was an NDP supporter. The
I've
first
been a
time I
member
ever
since I was
voted
18.
Liberal was when was the campaign I worked on in this last federal election, because I was out of the country and stuff. So that was the first time I ever voted Liberal.
Yeah.
But I left the party mainly because of this issue, because I saw nothing happening on it. And I saw an opportunity to make a difference in a party that I thought would actually take my voice into account.
Well, it's weird
and I
how
could make listen. So
it seems like sometimes it's easier for the party that doesn't have any power to come forward on these sort of issues that really do disturb the powers that be.
Yeah.
And so I'm one of those people who I'm hoping that if the Liberals do get back into power, they won't just, blow with the political winds the other way.
Yeah.
And of course, there's going to be issues with getting.
We won't.
I'm sure.
You know
And
what?
then-
There's one MP who we should really thank for pushing this, and this is Joyce Murray, okay? If anybody got Justin Trudeau to sing a different song on this, it was her. She's been very active in getting all the MPs on board, okay? She's the leader of the Western Caucus, and as leader of Western Caucus, she's very well respected. And our MPs trust her, and that's what, we've got to give it up for her. 'Cause she's actually really the one who's behind getting caucus to support this. The members, more than 77% of us voted to legalize, tax and regulate cannabis the next time we're in government. And that's us as members. Now we have caucus, 100% fully supporting it, which is awesome. That's something we didn't expect to happen by now. We thought it would happen like a year from now. But it's happened now. Every caucus member is in support of this. And Joyce Murray is the one that really, really worked hard on this. So, we got to give it up for her.
Well, there you go.
I mean?
Fantastic.
Vancouver Quadra,
Yeah. And if I could leave it with one image, okay?
Yeah.
When you get in a canoe and you're on a lake or something, you don't just dip your paddle in the water and push once or twice and then let it go and expect to get where you're going, right? You have to keep putting your paddle in the water. You gotta keep swinging it. You gotta get to where you need to be. And you're not there till you're there, right? That's how I feel about it. I mean, even though I've got the commitment from Trudeau, to my face, and I feel like it's a done deal more or less. We won the battle. I'll believe it when I'm on the shores, right? But I'm going to work hard the whole time and make sure that I'm keeping the fire burning
Well,
under
and
it,
you
under
have
the
to.
issue. So, and I hope everybody else does too. Like, not even just in the Liberal Party, like, you know, every party, Conservative Party. Wouldn't it be great if Stephen Harper would turn around tomorrow and be like, "Oh, I made a mistake and I legalized."
That would be fantastic.
Take the wind out of our sails,
That'd be
wouldn't
at
it?
least
It would, totally.
You know, what would I
But
be
he
doing?
won't do
I'd have to
that.
find
Like,
another
old
issue.
Steve, I guess he's not such a bad guy after all.
Yeah.
Well, except for all the horrible other things he's done, like
Yeah.
killing people overseas by the, you know.
Instant redemption,
many,
maybe
many
not,
other
but-
things here at home probably too. Who knows? I don't.
But keep
anyway.
the fire lit under the issue.
Yeah, you
That's
have to
the important
continue
thing.
to fight on these issues because the other guys are going to continue to fight the opposite way, and they're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and you have to do the same thing.
And that's what you do, man. Like, I was sitting over here on the couch watching you, and like, you're natural up here on the camera. Like, I'm kind of nervous.
Thanks, man. Oh
You
yeah,
look great,
right.
so
Well,
this is good.
listen to this guy. He's kind of nervous.
It's
You
'cause
should have
he's
your
the
own
VP,
TV show.
you know?
You should have like a, I don't know, but you should almost have like a movie or something. You
A
have like
movie? My own
you're-
movie? Really?
This guy's handsome.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
like an actor. He really does.
He's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Russ is like model material.
I know, it's
you know?
absolutely true. Should be on the front of a magazine.
Well,
somewhere.
maybe he will be after
You're gonna
being
make-
on your show today.
You're gonna make me turn liberal red now.
Oh,
Whoa.
well, it'll match the sash. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Now, I guess
Hey,
check
thank
out
you.
liberals.ca.
Liberal.ca.
Don't go to liberals.ca.
Don't go to liberals.
Yeah,
Go somewhere else.
I went to liberals.ca and it's not the same.
It's funny. I was gonna. I saw it the other day. 'Cause I think I saw you post liberals.ca on something.
I did?
Clicked, yeah, I saw
Oh,
it's
really?
just a typo. So it's funny you bringing it up now. But yeah, I clicked on it and
That's
it's some
funny.
strange website of. Check it out. Like, check it out
Yeah,
right now.
maybe,
Everybody
but
is
it's
doing it. It's weird.
liberal.ca.
I'm not sure what the slant is on it, but
No,
it's
I'm
some
not-
weird.
It has a
lots
big
of pictures.
conservative banner at the top of it, but
But
then
it slags
says-
them all?
Yeah, it
That's
slags
strange.
everything. So I'm not sure what.
If you want to see our policy paper, go to liberal.ca/BC because it was the BC wing of the party that brought it to national.
And the resolution that we voted on, you can see it's resolution 114. So just for the number.
And
But there's the policy
basically,
papers on
it's
there
a
as well.
small resolution. It says the next time the Liberal Party is in government, we are going to tax, regulate, and legalize cannabis.
It's larger than that.
It's a little larger,
No,
but
there's a-
that's
larger.
just the gist of it. You know.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for your hard work, guys. Much
No
appreciated.
worries.
For
Thank
sure.
you.
Hey, thanks for
Awesome.
having us on.
Yeah, good having you
Shit,
guys.
great. Come back
Awesome.
again. I had fun.
You still need that lighter.
You can take that, my friend. I had my bong rip. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Mark Elias,
Oh,
Russ
wait,
Miller.
can I just actually add one more thing? Support Dana Miller's Sensible BC.
Dana Larsen.
Dana Larsen.
Right.
Dana Miller's another liberal.
She's a liberal
Dana Miller's a
candidate.
liberal.
Yeah, support the Sensible BC cause.
Yes,
All right.
yes. Awesome. Everybody's on the Sensible BC bandwagon. The projector's up. What's going on with the projector there, Marius? Is nothing working?
Nothing's working.
You know what we're going to do then? Does anybody have a felt marker? We might have one at the front desk. Can somebody go run and grab a felt marker? Anybody? That'd be hugely appreciated. So now we have two more guests to come up here. It's 5:24. Oh, we might be going a little while, which is cool. Now, who wants to come up first, though? Does anybody have to leave anytime soon or anything? What do you guys think? Who wants to? There, it's Jason and Dana. You guys want to wrestle for it or something? Leg wrestle? Arm wrestle? Oh, thanks. Awesome. Hi, Dana.
I'll keep it short and sweet. Hey, Jeremiah, good to see ya.
It's very good to see you too, Dana. I'm really high. I was going to say something about short and sweet, but I didn't know what I was going to say there for a second. Then I got distracted by the pen. You know what I'm going to do here? Look at this. I'm going to make a little...
What are you doing?
I'm going to, since we can't get our projector to work here.
See, oh, you're doing your background?
That's right. We're going to make a little display here. Let's see how this works. Should work.
CN. That first C is a lot fatter.
You're right, it is. That's okay. I'm not, you know.
Okay, no, this will really help spruce up the show.
That's right. See that? And then, do we have a piece of tape anywhere, maybe? Anybody?
I don't think I'm stoned enough for this.
Tape this on the back wall. Courtney, do you think we could go and see if they have a piece of tape at the front desk? They probably do. Tape that up.
That's the kind of stuff you should be doing while you're running a clip or something.
Yeah, well, we didn't play the rest of those damn clips that I wanted to play, the Trudeau clips. And since you're in two of them, we should play the ones that have you in them.
I'm all for that.
Okay, Marius, do you want
Trudeau,
to queue up one
classic
of them?
combination.
Yeah, here. Did you see what I was making?
Whoa.
That's right. So that'll be up on the backdrop in a second here if we can get some tape. Yeah, play the Dana one. We have 2 Dana ones actually. One, VC Freedom saying play the Dana one. Actually, VC uploaded one of the Dana ones to YouTube.
Yeah. What's the other Dana one? I was
the
on
other
CTV
Dana one,
twice.
That's
so.
the other one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's one of you like directly talking to them, like doing a live
Right,
feed
yeah.
thing with them, and then there's one of them a recorded thing or whatever.
It's incredible media coverage over the last while, and it's been timed out perfectly because we had our staff and our launch, and that got a pretty heavy media run. And this was ours was starting to peter out. Trudeau made his comment, so that which was in
Another
response to one of our
injection.
canvassers. I don't know if you mentioned that earlier, but it was. I mean, he probably would have brought it up anyways. But he
They
saw
had a
one of our
sign,
people.
right?
Yeah, one of our people was in the crowd because he went there. Liberals like pot. Let's go get some signatures for Sensible BC, and so she was there, and then he saw that, and he took the opportunity to make his
Wasn't there a
comments.
sign involved as well?
Well, she has a collect signatures, so she's got like a cardboard, a clipboard is what I'm looking for. Yeah, it's a clipboard with our stuff on the back. And so we saw her there, but then he reiterated it. But it just helped to keep the story going again and added a whole other level of media for us, so that's been very good. And
Cool.
You know, it's great hearing him saying all the right stuff now.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned that, funny, it was a decrim sign, and he said no to decrim. But, of course, this is something that
But
keeps
he didn't
coming
really,
up.
he didn't really, because he didn't really say that quite right. Because after it's not like, you know, he's for legalization, but decriminalization. I'm for legalization too. Sensible BC is for decrim because it's all we can do as a province. Our ultimate goal is the same: to have a regulated, legalized market.
Yeah.
But
Right.
starting off with decriminalization, I mean, we can just skip right to legalization. That's great. But even in Washington, Colorado, they've kind of got that 2-step where.
Started with medical and we have policing priorities.
Jody Emery, everybody.
Jody's in the crowd here now.
But yeah, you know, they had in Washington they decriminalized possession, and they had a year to figure out how they were going to legalize, and that's coming in just a few months now, right? So same kind of thing.
Right. And
Yeah.
so, Dana, we were at a little gathering last night of people. I don't know where we were, actually. Where was that?
We were at the Oak Ridge Library in Vancouver.
That's where
It
it
was
was,
apparently
Oak Ridge.
quite a hard-to-find library
Yeah, it
tucked
was.
away in the corner of the
So,
mall there.
I couldn't even figure out where I was, actually.
But yeah, I've been touring around. I mean, I've really been on tour off and on since last September, but now I've been focusing on the Lower Mainland, doing a different event every night. And tonight I'm in Burnaby. Jody's going to come with and help me do some stuff there. And we're just looking to talk to people who want to be canvassers, who want to get involved in the campaign, and actually participate and volunteer. And you know, it was funny. I did Abbotsford 2 nights ago, and Abbotsford is known as a conservative kind of community, but we had our biggest turnout there of anywhere. Oh, this isn't distracting at all.
No, sorry.
Nicely smooth.
Sorry.
Smoothly done.
Sorry, just getting my tape
So
here.
in Abbotsford, we had 50 people come out anyways. It was standing room only. It was a great turnout. They all registered as canvassers, a lot of enthusiasm. And so people are really getting excited about this campaign all around the province. And that's good to have.
It is, and it's really awesome to see the media hopping on board. And it's not just like one or two, but there's every newspaper. You were on the cover of the province just a couple of days ago.
Yesterday on the province made a little mistake. They had 40,000 signatures that we need, but it's actually 400,000 signatures. So they got it wrong there. But nevertheless, it was great to see. You know, it's good to be on the cover and to get a lot of attention for it. And they had an editorial and 2 columns about our work, and all supporting what we're doing. Now, I've been in like 8 local newspapers in the last couple of days as well, the cover of the Straight. Everybody wants this to happen. I mean, all the media really support this. Its time has come, and people are excited about the chance to make change. But it's by no means a done deal. Getting these signatures is very hard. Even with all the public support and media attention, we still need 6,000 at least dedicated, devoted canvassers out there collecting signatures, right?
6,000.
6,000 volunteers working hard, collecting signatures. If we can get that happening, we will definitely get over the top. And if people all think someone else is going to do it, or they don't fill out their paperwork, or they don't bother canvassing, then we're going to be very disappointed in December when we don't have what we need. Because it's very difficult, but it certainly can be done. It can be done.
And this is why I wanted to have you here today, Dana, is because the little seminar we were at last night, you were speaking about how the canvassing was actually going to work and breaking it down for people about how they sign up as a canvasser. And I wanted to do a little how-to thing here with you today. And so I wanted to just tell people exactly how they can get involved and what the job means.
I can do it really quick and easy. It's not that hard. If you go to our website, sensiblebc.ca/canvas, or just click on one of the links from the main page, it gives you a breakdown of how this works. But basically, we need to collect 10% of the we need to collect signatures from 10% of the registered voters in every one of British Columbia's 85 electoral districts. Signatures can only be gathered by someone who has filled out this very simple one sheet of paper and registered as a canvasser. And people ask me sometimes about the privacy issues too around becoming a canvasser and signing the petition. And so if you become a canvasser, your name is publicly available, but only to people who go down to Victoria and ask to see the list of all 5,000 and 6,000 canvassers. There's also other options of information to be available, but you can not have that available, and we automatically check all the privacy boxes on every form.
Yeah.
So all that will be publicly available as a canvasser is your name, but not your address, not your phone number, nothing else about you, and it's not online anywhere. They have to go down to Elections BC and ask to see it.
Yes.
And with those who sign our petition, they also can check a box saying they don't want their information publicly available or their name publicly available, and we're going to check all those boxes. So essentially, once you've signed the actual ballot initiative in September, that's also private as well. No one else has to know that you signed that. But anyway,
What
so
if I want them to know?
Well, you can uncheck the box, but I can't really see anybody, being too into that. Like, be complaining because their stuff's not public. But yeah, if you want us to uncheck the box or whatever, we could do that, I guess. One name, like people go down to see the name of who's listed, who signed, it'll be all redacted except Jeremiah Van Den Meer's
Sure.
one signature.
I'll take the credit for that.
But but anyway, so we have to. So you have to fill out this form. It's at the website sensiblebc.ca/canvas. Just give us your name, your birth date, and your where you are at. Then you're automatically registered as a canvasser. We'll get back to you in a couple of weeks. We got a lot of folks to process, so it takes a little while. But by September 9th, you will have in hand. That's the canvassing form right there. I don't know how well you can see it in front of the thing, but
you guys
it's a very simple document. You just got to
sure
sign.
That's very informative. For
Yeah, you just got to
hold up.
fill. We filled out all the main stuff for you. It's not very hard. But anyway, just send that in. In a couple of weeks, we send you back the information you need to collect signatures. So that's some guidance. Who else in your area is working on it, so you can work together. We'll give you a little badge. Elections BC gives you a little badge. People think of canvassing as going door.
Badge.
Well, it's like a little thing that you get. Like we can put it in a lanyard to show that you're an official canvasser.
I see.
But people think of canvassing and that meaning going door to door, but that's actually not really what we want people to do. Door to door is that desperate resort. It's the worst way to get signatures. The main way, I can do that just before I take off, and let me just get this out first. The best way to collect signatures is first to start with people you know, your friends, your family, your coworkers, maybe your neighbors. And then the other best way is to have a fixed location where you can be every day and people can come to you. So outside of a friendly business or in a public area where you can set up a table or just be walking around. But if we can tell people who have pre-registered and put on our website and have the local media also print, you can sign the petition from 1 to 5 p.m. every day at this place, or this person's house, or at this business, or this office, or whatever.
Yes.
People will come to us, and that's really the best way to get out there and get signatures. Main streeting, talking to people, getting your friends, and having a fixed spot.
Yeah.
So door to door is really
SkyTrain
only
stations.
the last. Yeah, SkyTrain stations, bus, any public area where you can talk to people, where you can maybe set up a little table, or at least have a spot where you can stand around with your clipboard. People will self-select if you're in public. If they don't like what you're doing, they mostly will just ignore you and not try to engage you. But a lot of people will see what you're doing, and everyone's going to know what's going on by September. I mean, there's a widespread awareness. People will know what you're up to, and those who want to sign will come running over, and they'll want to sign. I've had people drive by, pull their car over, get out of their car, come running over. I got to sign that, man. Sign up, grab some flyers, and then run away. So some people, are very enthusiastic.
Right.
We just got to find that 10 to 15% who are really keen and get them into signing.
Now, for the people who aren't, I mean, obviously when you go out there, you need to have something to say when you approach somebody. What is it, how do you actually approach somebody about this particular issue?
Decriminalize marijuana? If somebody hears those two words, they will, 90% of people know after that if they're going to support you or not.
Yeah.
The other 10% will be, well, what do you mean by decrim or legalization? I have some very specific opinions on this, right? But I mean, most people will know either no or yes. It doesn't usually take a lot of arguing with people, so I don't think you have to get into a huge, and usually people are going by you, or so you don't have a lot of time to excuse me, sir, would you have a nuanced discussion about marijuana policy? You don't have time for that, right? You just got to go
That's a
marijuana,
good opener,
are you marijuana decriminalized, yes or no?
Yeah, I guess you.
And
yeah.
I tell people, don't engage people who are against you. Just let them go. We don't need to convert anybody or win any arguments. Just find those who support you already and get them to sign on board. If they have a question about what this means or what decriminalization means or whatever, then by all means, talk to them, give them a flyer, answer their questions. But there's no point in arguing with people about it who are against it, because you're going to get you're going to get support or just some questions before they sign on board.
You might get some people who run up and are like fairly aggressive about it.
Never happened to me. It's never happened to us canvassing. We've had people come over saying, like, I disagree, but really, they know we're just going to go like, oh, really? Well, and just give them a bunch of facts they don't want to hear. They normally just don't want to engage you. Most people, like, none of our canvass. I mean, you get some negative feedback, but like
a little bit doing Jody campaign and stuff, but not very much. I mean,
it's in the minority, and there are some people who don't want to sign, who tell you to get lost or whatever. But
sign me up. I want to be a canvasser. I want to take serious time out of my life.
It's easy to do. Give them a pen too if you've got one.
I don't.
I'll do it while we're talking here.
You don't have a pen. You can do it in your own blood if you want to make it even more binding.
Would Sharpie work?
Sharpie probably.
Yeah, I guess so. Just write really clearly, but yeah, Sharpie would work. A lot of them are faxed in, and they're.
Do you want a crayon, David?
Hey.
No, you gotta show more.
You work with what you got.
Process. Yeah,
I don't know why I'm carrying around Sharpies.
Sharpie's probably good.
Yeah, but no, I'll take it and I'll fill this out. I think this is better than relying on politicians and judges. We've been doing that for 40 years. That game plan, the politician-judge game plan.
Judges have done a lot for us, but they're not going to end it. I mean, in terms of they've opened a few wedges.
They've been given every opportunity to end it.
But they're not. I don't think the judges are going to be the final result.
I'm not knocking the judges.
Politicians are going to have to be involved. We have to push them with trigger things like this that make it happen.
If we didn't have the judges, we wouldn't have any games to play at all. This would just be a hellish Nazi nightscape. However, we want to end it. We don't want to hand pot activism down from father to daughter in a long succession of kick the football further down the road. We want to end it in our lifetimes. And I can't think of anything else that's worked in the U.S., can't think of anything else that could possibly work in BC and get the ball rolling here again to get to the big L stage of the game, the end game as it were. I can't think of anything else that could possibly do it. So I think you've got the best idea, you've got the best organization, you've got the best media I've ever seen, like ever. Like, when does the Georgia Straight kick us down the front page?
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. It's been since back before they got so straight. So, now I got basically 3 days a week I can just devote to send me wherever you want, and I'll go and I'll collect more signatures than anyone else.
Right on. Well, we got some pretty good signature gatherers out there, so
I've been practicing.
Good competition.
I've been practicing my spiel for 20 years, Dean.
So I'll sign up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, hey man. Well, let's have a friendly competition.
I can pick some from the office.
All right. See what you can do.
I come prepared.
Absolutely. This is a competition. More people can get more. It's a friendly competition.
It's a friendly competition.
But we don't have any pens.
But you want, first of all, a pen budget. See if you can't organize that. And two,
we have a lot of pens in the office.
Oh,
I didn't.
Pen
you should have pens wherever you go. You should have and they should say Sensible BC on it or something like that.
Just make sure you keep an extra shirt in the car in case one of the pens leaks, though.
Yeah, they have been exploding in the hot sun.
I honestly think this has a better chance of succeeding than my Supreme Court case or anything we've done so far. Really, because it works. Obama has not invaded Colorado with an army of 100,000 guys. And that's the only thing that could shut Colorado down right now is 100,000 guys. And I've noticed also a difference between activist-created initiatives and lawyer-created initiatives. The activist-created initiatives seem to protect more people from harm, protect more people from the police. And I can see that's what's happening here. So I say anybody who wants to say something to their grandkids when they say, what'd you do to end the drug war? Participate now. If you've been holding back, participate now. If you have any free time whatsoever, even after your 8-hour shitty job, volunteer. This guy's going to do it because he's the most active, most organized pothead I know. And he's really got a good team.
You should see my home office, but yeah.
No, you're not neat. You're messy. But you are organized.
All right, on. Good stuff. And absolutely, I appreciate all those words, and you took a lot of them right out of my mouth there, so that's very good.
I think, Trudeau is kind of good for getting the conversation going in our direction, but you're the guy we've been waiting for.
I feel like it's going to take a convergence of all these things, right?
Yeah,
We need political people talking about it. We need activism at the grassroots level. But if this passes, it gives Trudeau or whoever, Mulcair or whoever our next prime minister is, the trigger to make it happen.
Yes.
Because it's easy to talk about stuff, but there's a lot of priorities when you get in charge. There's a lot of stuff you have to do, and usually the marijuana stuff gets pushed down the line is something we're going to get to eventually, right? So
yeah.
So this kind of thing will make it sure that it happens and that it's triggered. Right on. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
And
no
grab some
problem.
extra ones.
Take
So Dana, I wanted to ask you, because we got into the politics here a little bit about the parties. You're a longtime NDPer, as am I. Lifelong, since I was 18, I've been a member of the NDP. But we were just talking about Mulcair and we were talking about the NDP, and I wanted to give you a chance to talk about a little bit about what's happening in the NDP and about some of your work there. You've done things here in the province and you've been pushing resolutions for a long time. It's cool to see Justin come forward and say this kind of stuff. Do you expect that Mulcair will join to say the same kinds of things? Do you hear any sort of movement from within the party?
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, the NDP has got excellent policies on marijuana and drug stuff. We use the word decriminalization and not legalization. But the actual policy book says to decriminalize marijuana to get the sale and cultivation out of the hands of organized crime. So that kind of decriminalization sounds more like legalization than a fine or something, right? But
they might have been afraid of the word.
But absolutely, that it's something the NDP has struggled with internally, and I've been a big part of that struggle. We've got MPs like Libby Davies who have articulated excellent marijuana and drug policies and really been tireless crusaders on this issue for decades, right? But there's also no question that Mulcair has shied away from this. He's not out there talking about it as a big issue. He's not making it a priority. I would expect, I would kind of expect similar things from either party ultimately if they came into power, that they would definitely, I think, they would make a better medical marijuana program. They'd get rid of the mandatory minimums. I think both parties would do those things without having to be pushed too much. But I think it's going to take some kind of trigger thing to get it to happen. And I love what Trudeau's saying on this issue. I think it's fabulous. But my experience is that when parties are in third place, they tend to be more open on this issue. And when they come into second place or take power, it tends to get shuffled down.
Right.
And we saw that with the NDP, that we were more talking about this when we were third place. Jack Layton came on Pot TV when he got in. NDP was doing not very well then at all. Layton had taken over, and he was really talking about pot more. As they got better and further up in the polls, they started doing better. Marijuana.
They didn't talk much
and now
about it
we're in second place in opposition, and now it's an issue that doesn't get talked about a lot. I mean, Mulcair does say he supports decriminalization. People shouldn't go to jail, but he's not like picking people out of the crowd and just talking about it extemporaneously like Trudeau was doing, right?
Yes.
But the NDP is also different than the Liberals in that we are provincially and federally all united as one large organization. So the BC Liberal Party, there may be some members who are part of both, but it's a totally separate organization, separate structure, right? So you're not getting the BC Liberals saying anything about marijuana like the federal Liberals are, right? They're trying to ignore it. They do have some advocates in there, but none of them are in the cabinet or none of them are in the caucus. Right. And for the most part, the BC Liberals have overseen a big increase in marijuana possession charges. Yeah. And so, but the BC NDP, I mean, Adrian Dick said in the debates he supports decriminalization. We've had Nicholas Simons come talk at our events. He's an NDP MLA. Lana Poppins, an NDP MLA, who's been talking on Facebook about us. Yeah. So there's certainly a lot of people in the caucuses, federally and provincially, across the country in the NDP, who are strong supporters of these laws. Yes. But I would be happy if Mulcair was talking about this more and bringing it up more. But I'm going to keep working in the NDP to ensure we have solid policies on this and to make sure this issue is not forgotten.
Excellent, Dana. That's very
cool.
cool.
And ultimately having Trudeau make those kind of comments, I hope, makes it, like whenever one politician says something or moves forward, it creates room for other people to maneuver as well, right? So having him kind of outflanking us on the marijuana issue, as it were, it makes it easier. If Mulcair wants to do more, it sort of makes it easier for him to talk about it or to reinforce our responsible decriminalization policy or whatever. I don't know what the angle would be, but I absolutely applaud, Trudeau's comments. I think it's great.
Yeah, no, it's cool to hear it.
And Sensible BC isn't like an NDP thing or a Liberal thing or a Conservative thing. We've had I've got Conservatives working in our party. I talked to a guy the other day who was like, I helped elect Mulrooney, and I think Sensible BC is great. And there's certainly a lot of Liberals, a lot of NDPers and everything. So, this is something that everybody can participate in as a single focused issue. I don't care what your other political affiliation is.
If you're sick of the war on the plant that cures cancer, and join Sensible BC because we all are sick of it too.
Yeah, and it's absolutely, yes, it's absolutely something anybody can get involved in.
I think this is finished. Is that
There you
complete?
go. All
That's how
good.
it's done.
Yeah, I just got to put my
It's as
signature
easy
and
as
date
that,
on it, and we're all
everybody.
done.
It's
That's
as
how you
easy
do
as
it.
that.
Okay.
Even a
Yes.
very, very stoned David
And all you gotta do
Mamalabine
is-
can do it in a matter of minutes.
All you got to do is fax it.
sure.
No, you got it, but I mean, give it to me in person,
not sure.
downtown, or fax it, or scan it, and email it,
Okay,
or
I'll talk
anything
to you
else. Thank you very much.
We're going to
sir.
need people
Absolutely.
who can communicate in other languages,
When does your event start?
especially in
It's at
ethnic
7 o'clock
neighborhoods.
tonight,
We're
and
going to
then
need
we can-
people who are
it's
familiar with
only
the
half an
issues.
hour or less
So if
drive,
you have
so we
either
got
of
time,
those
but-
abilities,
I'm
the
not sure if I'm
ability
going to be able
to
to make it right away or even at all, but we'll see.
I can
how it
drive
goes.
Jody down. I figured I would take her down if she wanted. So,
So-
all right. But anyways,
right? Other languages, right? We can need ethnic neighborhood canvassers.
the more skills you got, the better. And I tell people also, if you're only going to get 10 signatures, that's okay. I mean, the more the better. But I don't want anybody thinking, oh, I could probably only get 10 or 15. I shouldn't bother registering as a canvasser.
No.
If every one of our Facebook fans got 10 signatures, we would have more than we need.
That's right.
So, like, it certainly, don't just stop at 10. But if you're only going to get your friends and family to sign on board, that's okay. That's 10 more than most people are going to get.
Yeah.
Still register as a canvasser, right? Don't anybody thinking they're not that the small amount they can contribute is not going to be enough.
Yeah.
But you might find once you get that first 10 that it's like potato chips. You can't just stop there, and you're going to want to keep going, right? So,
That's right.
want some potato chips.
Fighting for your rights is addictive and habit forming. It's fascism is a big
have you
buzzkill.
registered as a canvasser yet?
No, that's why I got my.
This is
right
an
on. Yeah, give
environmental
them all
nightmare.
away.
It's also a very big buzzkill. Takes away from the high. So
Yeah, if somebody gives me one, I'll fill one out too.
hey, yeah,
There
here.
you go. Might as well.
That's right. But one person can't do
If you're at
everything.
home,
but
fill 'em out right now.
Everybody
While we're
can
doing
do
it here.
something, and you're either doing something or you're doing nothing. You just got to decide to be in the something category, and you'll sleep better at night. Be able to look yourself in the mirror. Very important concepts for human beings to continue to get up and do it all over again every morning.
That's
You
right.
got to look yourself in the mirror. You got to say, okay, it's looking pretty hopeless. It's an environmental wasteland out there. It's a fascist police state. Police are breaking arms and legs everywhere you look. But this is something that actually might work. Let's try it out before we give up all hope.
And if you don't live in BC, because I know a lot of the audience is not British Columbians, you can still participate. You can still donate. We'll take your money more gratefully from anywhere you are in the world. Actually, there's no restrictions on out of province donations, and you can also volunteer and help out. We get people. You can do data entry for us from your home. We can email you stuff to type in. You can actually make phone calls from your home over Google Talk. So as long as you've got decent internet, it won't cost you a penny. And the people you'd be calling are only people who have said they already want to support us. No, you're not doing cold calls. You're just calling people who want to volunteer and getting them, finding what they want to do and getting them set up so they can call other people that do stuff. Yeah, you're doing warm or hot calls. Yeah.
Warm or hot calls.
And there's other things you can do from home too. And certainly, talking to your friends in BC also helps. But it's something for everybody can do, and if we break through this in BC, it's going to affect the rest of Canada, right? It's absolutely going to go up. It's like the balloon. You just got to pop it in one spot, and then it's all going to happen. And so let's make it easy for our next Prime Minister to make this happen, because if British Columbia demanding repeal of marijuana prohibition and refusing to enforce enforcement in early 2015 is when that would come to play, we collect the signatures this fall. The referendum vote would happen next September, and then it would take them a couple of months to get it all together, so it would come into play in early 2015, and then the next federal election is 2015. And if we can do all this, it's going to make it very uncomfortable for Harper in BC as well.
Yeah.
Because even people who don't really necessarily care that much are going to say, well, we had a referendum, they won the vote, it's democracy, we should do it.
Yeah.
And so if Harper tries to say, well, we insist you keep arresting marijuana smokers, it's the people aren't going to like that. It's
No.
going to, and our polling shows that in BC, even Conservative Party voters support decriminalization and legalization. 57% of Conservative Party voters in our province want our law to come forward.
I love that statistic.
And so it's a divisive issue for the right, because a lot of people on the right are more libertarian oriented and don't really like this kind of stuff. They try to ignore this stuff. A lot of the newspapers that endorsed Harper in the last election, they all said, we don't like the mandatory minimums, we don't like the drug stuff, but his strong hand on the economy is what we need, so let's ignore. But the more this kind of stuff comes up, the more it starts to take away from the other aspects. And he's not doing too good on the economy, obviously, either, misplacing billions and seeing a lot of that happen. But anyway, so
Some of it ending up in Mike Duffy's pocket somehow.
Yeah, that Senate stuff. Yeah, I would love to see the Senate change. There's a lot of different ways we could do it. But what we're doing now is not a good method at all.
Yeah. So Dana, just to wrap things up about the whole Sensible BC canvassing thing, if people want to get involved, what's the best place to go? Where can people get these forms? Like, where can you find this stuff? Just go to Sensible BC and print one off?
Yeah, sensiblebc.ca. There's two main links. There's the how to join and volunteer, and there's how to become a canvasser. And they both cross-link to each other, but the how to become a canvasser explains the details on canvassing and collecting signatures. And we would be starting to collect signatures on September 9th, so there's a bit of preparation time to get things organized. But one of the things when you collect the official signatures, you've got to do it on the special canvassing form, and as a canvasser you have to witness the whole sheet and sign off on it. So people can't sign up online, they can't mail in something, they got to sign it in front of you, you got to send it in. And each district has a different form they have to sign also, so there's 85 different forms. People have to sign the right form for their district, and so we've got that information there and how to make that work. The forms will be available in early September, so they're not ready yet. Elections BC hasn't given them to us, but that's okay because you're not allowed to collect signatures yet anyways. We don't want anybody jumping the gun.
So 85 different forms. Does that mean you should carry all 85 forms
Well,
with you?
places like this or people in down, probably you would because you're probably going to run into tourists or other people.
Right.
If you're outside, if you're in a more rural area, we recommend at least trying to have one form for each neighboring district. You know, but there's a lot of smaller towns in northern BC where everyone within a 100-mile radius is in the same district, so it's less of a hassle for them, but it certainly is complicated. Most people don't know what district they live in, so we've got a little app on our website where you can type in their postal code and it'll spit out the district for you so you can find the right form for
Now,
people.
are there some printing costs involved with being a canvasser?
Yeah, well, printing out your own forms and that, I mean, we're not, even a top canvasser, if you get 1,000 signatures, that's only 100 sheets of paper, so you're still not really looking at a big printing cost that way.
Right.
We can mail forms to people if they need them, but it's much easier for us if they can go print them out themselves, and it's a very minimal cost to print things like that out.
I read in the newspaper recently that the hardest one for the hardest of the 85 for the HST people to crack was one of the Abbotsford ones. Do we have anyone in Abbotsford yet?
I did a talk in Abbotsford 2 nights ago. It was our biggest one ever, most successful of my recent talks. 50 people came out.
Nice.
It was standing room only.
Oh, excellent.
They all registered as canvassers.
Oh,
5
great.
of them wanted to be local organizers for Abbotsford.
So what would you say?
It was an incredible
what would you
show
say
of
is
support.
the weak points that we have right now?
People keep asking me, like, what's the troubling districts? And
Yeah.
I'm like, all of them. Like, there's nowhere where I'm like, oh, we're going to be perfect there. It's no problem. Like, we've only been able to register canvassers for the last about 10 days or so.
Yeah.
We've got about maybe 400 registered now.
Yeah.
So it's not even 10% of what we need yet. But that
Okay.
makes sense because we're in the early, they'll pick up as we go along.
Right.
And we need people everywhere. And ultimately, a lot of the districts in rural areas, in urban areas, they're all neighboring each other. So even if we've got enough in one spot, you can go do the neighboring neighborhood. You don't have to be, you can collect signatures from any district as a canvasser. You're not limited to your own district. So our plan will be, hopefully, our target is 15% in every district.
Yeah.
Once we get 15% somewhere, I'm done with that area. I want those volunteers to go somewhere else if they can and collect signatures in the neighboring districts.
Good plan.
So ultimately, we just need people everywhere because we're going to need lots of people. We need at least, I'd say, if we can get 50 or more in each district, we're golden. That's going to take us over the top.
The thing is to play it so that you're ahead of the game, so that you can fill in the weak spots at the end, so you have time to
Yes,
fill in the weak spots
absolutely.
at the end. So let's get them all. Let's get all the signatures in the first month of the 3 months to do it.
We have 3 months, but that also includes the time for us to organize them and get them all to Elections BC. So probably at least 1 week at the end there.
Okay.
Because I've got it. We can't just give them a big stack of messy stuff. We got to have each one bound with all the documents from that district.
Let's
me
show the
signing off
world.
on top.
Let's show the world how high functioning and organized the potheads of British Columbia are by getting this done in record time. And they designed the system to be super difficult, did they not?
It's only been done once before, and they had a former premier, other pretty heavyweight political people. They had the union movement and the NDP and a lot of other groups on board with that, and they still came pretty close.
Have you talked to the unions at all?
Well, yeah, I've got a lot of Fight HST organizers are on board, people who were like regional organizers, and a lot of them said they're not. And you talked about potheads being organized. Well, I mean, certainly a lot of us are, but a lot of those in this movement are not potheads or pot smokers at all.
Well, now's the time to step up.
I'm getting more and more, or people coming on board who are like, I was in Fight HST and I had a lot of fun doing that, and I just want to help you guys because I believe in it. But a lot of our top people are not into smoking weed at all. They just want to change it and
Well,
want to get rid of this dumb law, which
it's
is gratifying to see that, right?
It's expensive to push pot
they're
people
just
around.
idealistic people who want to make a change, right? So,
Yeah, well,
but
it's a principle thing or the economic thing. Either way, you're going to get people that work with the HST.
I'd say that the people who really get motivated to actually take action usually fall into two categories. They're either medical users or they're someone who got busted.
Yeah.
Because it takes that personal. People can believe in this as an issue, yeah, I would do it, but to get out there and actually volunteer time to it, usually it has to hit you at home, right?
Yeah.
And so those who I find, not always, and there's certainly a lot of idealists there, but I'd say a really good chunk of our most serious volunteers are those for whom themselves or someone they love in their family needs marijuana to live a healthy life.
Well,
or they know them or someone they know went to jail or had some kind of bad situation happen and they made them angry.
If only 1 out of 10 of the people who were negatively impacted by the drug war volunteered, that'd be enough canvassers to do it in a month.
Well, and I hope that one of the long-term effects of Harper's mandatory minimums and stuff will be to create a lot of angry people who come out of jail after their 6-month sentence as an activist, which they might not have gone in as one, right?
Well,
so I hope that creates a backlash that ultimately helps us defeat what he's trying to do.
Once you've stayed overnight in either a hospital bed or a jail cell, you don't want to spend 2 nights there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but that's how the canvassing works. That's how people can get involved. And I think I mentioned earlier, it's private. If you sign the petition, we're going to check the box for everybody that says you don't want your information available publicly. When you register as a canvasser, the only information that's publicly available is your name, but it's not online. It's only available if someone goes to Elections BC and asks to look at the list of 6,000 or more canvassers, and they can see your name there. So there is that, but that's the only way any information about you is revealed. Otherwise, it's totally anonymous.
There you go.
And that's important for some people, I think, who are worried about either real or imaginary repercussions
And now,
they
do
might
they,
get from this.
on the forms themselves for the, so people do ask us, I even remember when we were campaigning for Jody, there is a little box there that's next to each signature, and they can check it themselves, but you say you're going to go and actually check
Yeah, I
them all
talked to the HST guys too. They said they just checked off all those boxes. We automatically check them on this form. That's Elections BC. That's fine. We're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
If somebody's like, oh, I really wanted my phone number to be available or whatever, like that's not going to happen, right? Nobody's But if somebody really wants their name to be there, they can just uncheck it or whatever, right? That's fine.
I think at this point they have all that information anyway.
Well, it's like there's going to be, if this works, there's going to be
They
a
have a lot more
half a
than
million
that.
people signing this. Like, it's not like they're going to be it's going to be a representative demographic of every British
They're going
Columbian.
to be
There's
shipping
gonna
them
be
off on
represented in there,
trains
so-
next year.
Yeah, there's no, and in the States, I mean, a lot of bad things happen in the U.S. I haven't heard of anybody losing their job or being punished for signing a legalization petition anywhere.
No.
And if it was going to happen somewhere, it might happen there, right? So a lot of bad things do happen, but that's something that I've never heard of, and I think we would have if somebody lost their job or got punished because they signed a legalization thing, right?
Yeah,
So that doesn't happen,
it's totally
I
true.
think. No.
Well, excellent.
It won't
So,
happen here.
sensiblebc.ca, that's the place to go to find all of the information about what's happening with the decriminalization campaign here in the province of British Columbia. Tell your friends. People from outside British Columbia can also help, right, Dana?
Yeah, they can donate, absolutely. We'll take your money, and most happily, and you'll get a thank you card from me if you donate more than $42, I believe. And then you can also donate your time, which is really even more important than money in many ways.
Right.
Both doing data entry, making phone calls from your house. If you want to get involved, email volunteer@sensiblebc.ca. And our volunteer organizer Nick will get back to you and try to put you to work as best you can. And in other provinces, they may not have a referendum system, but this law could still apply in any province. Any province could do this. So certainly we need help in BC to punch through, and everyone should focus here. But at the same time, talk to your local MLA or MPP or whatever they're called in your province, and tell them you want sensible marijuana laws in Saskatchewan and Alberta and Quebec and Ontario. That you want your province to do the same thing that many provinces did when it came to the long gun registry, which is refuse to enforce it.
I want to get
and this kind of thing is common. That provinces have the role to control policing, to give priorities for their police. We're not doing anything weird really with this. It's a pretty common thing. Many provinces refuse to enforce the long gun ban and the long gun registry.
That's right.
More recently, British Columbia has decriminalized impaired driving by creating a provincial regulatory scheme, and they don't charge anybody with impaired driving anymore in BC, or very rarely. they deal with it by other provincial regulations. You don't get a criminal code or criminal record. Oh, you're distracting me. What is this? This is Bob Herb's
VanCity Comics. Bob High's.
Bob High, not Bob Herb. Bob High.
Bob High's VanCity Comics cover. And it's just a new comic where
I haven't seen. Yeah, no, that's
record
great.
the
Yeah, even
history
hold it
of
maybe a little closer, even
the neighborhood.
Oh, that's probably Kayla with the Sensible BC cheerleader.
That's right.
There, right?
Yeah,
The
so
whole gang, good stuff.
That's happening too.
That's great. Yeah,
I
show
gotta
that
head out
off.
soon, Jared. Is there something you want?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say thanks to Dana. And I was going to say that people from outside British Columbia should support Sensible BC because this has an effect on what happens in the rest of Canada as well. If British Columbia all of a sudden decides to decriminalize marijuana,
the whole country will follow.
That's right. The rest of the country is going to want some of that
just
action.
like Washington and Colorado just like California having their vote triggered a whole bunch of other states legalizing medical marijuana, and these two states have already triggered a bunch of legislation that hasn't passed, but certainly a lot of folks have been talking about it. It's emboldened them in Alaska. They're probably going to legalize in the next year in Alaska, I bet, under the same method. And a lot of other states are moving forward. So it makes everybody else realize what's possible. People say, oh, it'll never happen. And what happened? Well, why don't we do that, right?
Yeah.
So that really transforms the argument. I got to run to an event tonight in Burnaby. I'm going to
Excellent. Thanks a lot. Always a pleasure to have you here.
In BC have already printed these out. You're in front of your computer right now.
Get your
Open
forms.
up another window.
Sign
go
them
to
up.
sensiblebc.ca/cannabis. Take as many as you like. Jeremiah's got more, and if you need more, and you can
Yeah, I
find
got
all
a
the
stack of
information
them
how to
somewhere.
get them. You can just drop them off at our office, but all the information how to get them to us is online.
Right
so,
on.
Okay, good stuff. I'm
Thanks,
out of here.
Dana.
A pleasure as always.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
sure.
And
Love you, man.
keep
We'll
up
see
the
you
good
soon.
work, man.
Yeah, you never actually played that clip either. I don't.
Oh, we didn't play the
You
clip.
never
We should
played
play
it,
that
so.
clip. But I wanted to get David before you leave, and then we'll play the clip after.
right.
Yeah, I'm going to play the clip of Trudeau and Dana. They're talking to Trudeau, and then they talk about Trudeau, and then they talk to Dana. So, but before I do that, I want to talk to you, David, just because I had the pleasure of attending the talk by Paul Kruger.
Oh, yes.
Which was fantastic. We broadcast it live on Pot TV. People can find that on the front page of pot.tv right now. Thanks a lot, guys. And James Gesso, I didn't get to see his talk, but he was here, and he dropped this book off for us here, Decomposing the Shadow, Lessons from the Psilocybin Mushroom. And did you end up going to hit the book launch or any of the other stuff?
I did go see part of his speech, James Gesso.
Yeah.
Just Decomposing the Shadow, yes.
Yeah.
And I just got to tell you that that Paul Kruger speech blew my mind.
Yeah, that's cool.
Especially the part that sticks out was all the guys waiting in the European church, and they're all from Latin America, and they're given a wafer instead of an active sacrament. And they're like, "Are you feeling anything? I'm not feeling anything. Do you think? How long does these wafers take to kick in?" That just kind of showed me the mentality of who was replacing what with what, and how superior they felt they were, and how inferior they actually were to understand the soul and concepts like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, so that's very cool. I like the way that you summed it up right there too.
Well, I'm a nutsheller.
You're a good nutsheller.
I'm a nutsheller.
So yeah, that was great, David. And you, the Herb Museum actually helped bring that here to Vancouver.
Yeah, well, Paul is a personal friend of mine, and
That's right.
He's introduced me to a lot of cool stuff for the Herb Museum.
Cool stuff.
Got us the acid medicine bottle and the psilocybin medicine bottle and the DMT medicine bottle, and
Yeah.
he's good hookup for artifacts and examples of mushrooms. He left a lot of his mushroom collection with us too.
Oh, did he?
So you
Just
can
now?
come see Paul's. No, it's been in the mushroom.
Oh, you have that. That's the stuff that you have back there.
Yeah. So some of it.
Some of it.
Some of it's Paul's.
You
But
have
it's
some
pretty
cool stuff back there.
He showed me some of the coolest shops in Chinatown to buy medicinal mushrooms from. So Paul is a wealth of information, and they're going to have other events. Probably another one here, and one at the Van Dusen Botanical Gardens in October. All the mycophiles and shroom lovers gather together, and they all go pick mushrooms and all bring them back, put them on a big
At
table.
Van Dusen?
At the Van Dusen, man, and they got mushroom posters and mushroom books and mushroom lectures and mushroom movies and mushroom soup and mushroom dyes.
And it's all magic mushrooms?
No, it's every
regular
kind
mushrooms.
of, no, it's every kind of mushroom. Magic, non-magical, fucking poisonous, All of them. Medicinal, yummy. They got every kind of mushroom known to humankind. They got them all together, and they have every expert in town and some from out of town to tell you all about them.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the place to be. So we'll
October.
Van
Dusen Gardens, Vancouver.
The Van Dusen Gardens here in Vancouver are quite beautiful.
Oh, beautiful. Whatever season you're walking through them. BC is lush, and Van Dusen is kind of lush plus. It's got it all.
Well, David, thanks. I just wanted to ask you about the mushroom thing.
Yeah.
And also, so the VanCity comics, we're going to publish.
VanCity Comics.
This is going to be published online. This is the cover, but you're going to see this online with the first panel, actually, coming very soon from Bob High and Cannabis Culture Magazine. So there you are.
That's right. We're going to, have our Freak Brothers moment in the sun.
That's right. And
That's
Bob
how I
High.
learned.
See, I just don't feel that Bob High's art is being properly represented online. Because Bob has a massive archive of brilliant comics and awesome pot stuff, drawings of every kind you can imagine about the pot industry. So we need to get this stuff up online. And
We
David,
did a recent show about the Herb Museum art auction.
We did.
Where you could see the entire collection from beginning to end.
there's a lot of Bob High in that collection. And
Yeah.
you can go to the front page of pot.tv. And if you don't see it on the front page right now, you can just click the More tab at the bottom. That'll take you to a page that hopefully gets you to More eventually. But you might have to scroll
Or type
through a
in
couple.
Herb Museum art auction into Google. You'll find it that way too.
Herb Museum online art auction. It was the first time we did it, and that was a big
and we
success.
did the summer art auction was the latest.
Speaking
one.
of Bob High, there
Speaking
he
of
is.
Bob High, hey
He's the
Bob
man in
High.
black. He looks like Johnny Cash today.
Hey Johnny Depp.
Well, awesome, David. Yeah, I don't know. Was there anything else that you wanted to say? Oh, Fukushima, that's coming soon.
Fukushima's coming soon.
We don't want to give
If
too
you're
much
worried
away.
about Fukushima, you have no idea how worried you should be about Fukushima. But we're going to tell you how worried you should be about Fukushima in an article all about Fukushima and the solutions to extra radiation floating around that we've created
And
unnecessarily.
there's been some recent news about Fukushima too. The leaking of the stuff that's happening there into the ocean, like massive amounts of it's cracking through the dirt and into the water.
So bad.
We're in big trouble with that Fukushima
Y'all
thing.
have no idea how bad it is, but you will
Well,
soon.
David's article will tell you how bad it is, and also will tell you the information about how to stop it and save the world.
How to stop it, how to survive and thrive and live with now a considerable extra amount of radiation in the air.
Survive and thrive with hemp.
Hemp, shrooms, pot, and hemp seeds. The 4 keys to survival. Special mushrooms that soak up radioactive cesium and can do that from hurricane waste, landfills, stuff like that. So that's where partly where they're going is regular landfills. Partly where it's going is into the sea.
Yeah.
Partly it's getting burnt and sent up into the air. And none of it should just be, they should just be inoculating these piles with these mushrooms that soak it all up.
Really?
Yeah.
And how do you put the mushrooms down? You spray some spores or something?
Yeah, spray spores. But it's already in the medium. Like these are wooden houses, right? That got destroyed in a lot of this waste, this radioactive waste is in the form, it's ready to be sucked up by the mushrooms. But we're doing everything but.
Right. Well, there you go.
Phytoremediation or
Mushrooms.
mycoremediation.
Fighting the radioactivity with natural substances.
That's right, and cannabis is the tumor shrinker. All the medicinal elements of cannabis, the THCs, the CBDs, the terpenes, they all shrink tumors. It's the ultimate tumor shrinker. There's other plants that do, but cannabis is the best. So, when you say, I'm not a medical user, yeah, you could be, given the amount of radioactivity that we have and soon will have.
No shit.
2015 is like probably when I'm going to stop swimming in the Pacific Ocean.
X-weed.
Yeah, the X-Men.
X-Men, X-weed. Okay, well, cool, David. Thanks for coming on, man.
All right.
I'm going to either shuffle you down the couch or kick you off because I'm
no.
now going to bring on Jason Wilcox. So, David, herbmuseum.ca, that's the place to go?
Herbmuseum.ca, and keep watching Cannabis Culture for that Fukushima article. It's coming
That's
soon.
right, very soon. And for Bob High's beautiful
And
artwork.
for Bob I's beautiful artwork, and for more Herb Museum activities.
We're getting a big scanner. I want a big full-size scanner if we can find one. Do you know where to find one of those, David?
There's one in town, and it's super expensive.
What? I want to buy one, though. Like a bigger scanner. Why is that so hard to find? Is that a big deal?
I don't
Jeez.
know. I think they're expensive. Otherwise, I could have got it done at one of these local photocopy shops instead
how
of
hard
having to
could it
go
be?
all the way to Kits for it.
You want any of this?
I'm so high, man.
All
if
right.
you haven't noticed, I'm balls high.
Balls high. That's
Yeah.
not that high.
It depends on what you're doing.
Well, yeah, usually where David keeps his balls. All right, David Mammal Levine, hermuseum.ca, and now Jason Wilcox from the MMAR Repeal Coalition. Coalition Against Repeal. Sorry, I'm not giving the full aspect here. And actually, it has other things. It's the MMAR DPL PPL Coalition Against Repeal. That's the full name.
Correct.
It's quite the name there. But the website address is just MMARCoalitionAgainstRepeal.com.
Correct. I find it very interesting, and the political climate. Some of the stuff we heard here tonight, the anti-lawyer comments, and lawyers can't do certain things.
Who David's?
Just some stuff I've been listening. So I'm gonna respond to that, and they're welcome to come.
You're
back
not a lawyer.
And join us. No, I'm not a lawyer. I'm gonna respond to it as myself.
Right.
But certainly, when we talk about legalization, that is a broad term, my friends. I would say define legalize. Washington State, Colorado, define it. Don't talk it. Define it. Justin, define it. Are plants going to be allowed for everybody? Can people just, if they choose to grow or have a caregiver grow for them, is that going to be allowed? And why the fuck would we toss out a medical program that's 12 years laid the platform for half the businesses people on this show are running? Because we built it. California started it. HIV positive patients like myself built it. We're doing it again now. And an update to all of our ones. I love you guys, man. 6,400 of you, I love you. Your medical patients, you're standing up, you stood your ground, and John Conroy's got your back. Officially, we're making it announced. We're going to court, or we're notifying the federal government of our intent to go to court. You know, they'll have 30 days to respond by September 30th. That is the official announcement as of yesterday from John W. Conroy, QC. Okay, this is no game. We don't need 500 people. We don't need 10,000 fucking votes. We need one judge, a couple of Crown attorneys, and a couple of really good lawyers like John W. Conroy, QC, and his team to go into the court of law and do battle for us, where only a few people make a decision under constitutional law. Understand the difference, my friends. Constitutional law overrides any politician. Any politician in this room wants to challenge it. Can any politician change what's happening right now to medical marijuana patients? Can any politician change personal production in this country? Has anybody even put it in the model or on the platform?
Well,
you guys want to talk about it? Let's talk about it.
Not yet. They haven't. They haven't made any specifics.
Exactly. But you know who has? The coalition. We have. And if we secure it under the Constitution, my friends, we're all equal before and under the Constitution. I've said this before. People aren't listening. Talk about not liking lawyers. Well, you know what? Some people maybe had a bad case with that lawyer. So what? You know, some people like to self-represent and end up failing at the federal bench. That's a choice.
Well,
you know, people can do what they want
I think David was probably speaking.
I ain't speaking about any one particular person. I'm speaking in generality because, you know what, Matt? In back east, I watched what happened to you. Man, I feel for you because I'm going through this. I know if this happens to me, that if this coalition fails, everyone's going to jump on my ass. I already got people jumping on my ass. So I'm ready for that. That's okay. It comes with the territory. After 9 months, you get a little battle hardened. And Matt's right. When your cards are played, they're fucking played. Ours aren't done yet. Our game's just starting. Shit, Conroy serves the friggin' government. They got a little bit of time. We serve an injunction. Just so you know what an injunction is, it's a restraining order. It means it stops the government. And what we're asking, if the judge agrees, it will freeze personal production and the caregiver aspect, which is the designated production license holder. So you guys out there with your licenses making a shitload of money off us, kick it up. Because if Conroy doesn't have the money, he'll return the money and there won't be a case. This ain't hard. This ain't hard to understand. This is fucking reality. I ain't gonna sit here and talk bullshit to you about politics and what can happen in the next 5 years. I'm talking about what can happen now and how it's gonna affect the next 5 years, because any model that happens after this case, should we win the injunction, followed by a constitutional challenge, if we were to win both and secure personal production under the Constitution, then Canada would have no choice when they legalize but to include personal production. Now, many of you may not care about whether you can produce or not, but you may care about where you get your supply and whether you just buy it at the store. I don't know how many people are going to show up at 420 to celebrate. You can go to the pharmacy and pick up your fucking meds. Okay, or pick up your illegal supply at 7-Eleven. You got to understand. But what did they do? They moved it in with controlled drugs and substances and tobacco decanate. Now think about how the plants, the standardization, all the testing, all the bagging, it's the exact same as tobacco. Why? Because if they legalize, the distribution model is already in place to pop them into 7-Eleven and you can buy your meds there. Or in our case, or if you want to call it your recreational stuff. However, everybody I talk to about recreational, another broad term, you know, they always say, oh, it helps my appetite or it takes the edge off at night instead of taking some beer. Well, fuck, ain't that medical? There's pills for that, you know?
Well, now, Jason, we're talking about the Canadian court system here, and I mean, I know that there's definitely, you guys are doing an awesome job, and this is a way that is one way to fight. I think the politics are another way to fight. There's all kinds of ways to fight.
I support Dana. No, don't get me wrong. Dana's fight, Sensible BC, the coalition 100% is behind that, and if, of course, 50% of the licenses in this country are here in BC. I just don't like hearing about throwing out a medical marijuana program that laid the platform for Dana to have his businesses and to run his campaign.
Well, who said they were going to throw out the medical marijuana?
Dana did.
They were going to throw it out?
You have it on recording.
Oh. Well,
I was sitting right here.
I didn't. Well, eventually,
Dana,
I guess.
Dana's welcome. I mean, Dana and I discussed it before, and he was clear
if the
that
same
he was
rules
clear
were
to
open to
include it.
everybody. Like if the same, see, the thing is, if you had fully legalized marijuana in the way that Dana was suggesting, then you wouldn't have to have any medical program because it would be free for everybody to grow and do whatever they want with.
Right, but why would a medical patient who may have been using it for 10 years, built up a tolerance and resistance, and then a legalization person who just wants to use it as a weekend warrior, why the hell should you be comparing notes if a doctor's involved? If there's a doctor-patient relationship in a prescription, like in Colorado, if you're legal and you're of age, it's 6 plants. That's it. But if you're medical and the doctor prescribes something different, you get more.
So
that to me is a reasonable, fair market. But right now, the LPs are getting screwed, the medical patients are getting screwed, and now the people fighting for legalization models can't even define a model, let alone protect our plants or personal gardening. It's going to be a whole new...
I think Dana was probably speaking in more general terms and saying that if pot is fully legalized where you can grow as many plants as you want, then
is this realistic here?
Well, then it would, but why would it matter if you could grow as many marijuana plants as you want?
I didn't hear the Young Liberals actually mention a thing about personal production. I didn't hear Dana. I know Dana's position actually. It is that he is in the future going to. Right now, it's decriminalization. So again, this is why I support the initiative anyway, because legalization is the end result. Yeah. I've been fighting for legalization from the word go. It's why I share joints with you guys. I break my own rules with my license because I don't give a fuck about it. I don't think a piece of paper should separate you or me or anybody else in this fucking room. That's not the issue. The issue at hand right now is the constitutional issue that 30,000 patients, most of which fear going back onto pharmaceutical drugs, Oxycontin, morphine, Demerol. For those of you who are illegal may not understand that, but it's a God-given fear of being gobsmacked.
Well,
and
yeah,
patients,
those
patients who've been lived off of for the past 12 years got a goddamn right to have somebody help stand up for them, support them, because they've made a lot of money off them. You know, and yet they want to sit there and say, talk about removing a program or dismissing it like it's something Harper can just... Harper can't touch the program. That's why it's protected under the charter. Yeah. He can't touch the right to use. He's chopping off the regulatory option to grow. It's a regulatory option. We're going to try and protect it under the charter. Mr. Conroy's going to court. So my friends out there, members of the coalition, love y'all. I know I sound like I'm pissed off. I'm actually really relaxed. I'm medicated. I'm more pissed off about the political climate and the lack of support behind the medical patients who laid it down in this country and laid it down in California with the medical clubs in the early days, and they freaking know it. You know, and everybody in this industry knows it. You know, so the lack of support for us now is just further infuriating many of us, including myself. But I've been at this for 9 months. You know, seeing our attorney do over 100 hours of pro bono work. Are you freaking kidding me? We're just lucky. We're lucky, like we got an angel on our shoulder having John W. Conroy represent us and willing to go to the federal freaking bench. I cannot believe how many people do not understand that protecting our plants under the charter means that legalization down the road would have no choice but to allow you to also, or have somebody else potentially grow your cannabis for you, so you don't have to buy strains from an organized fucking tobacco model distribution system that they're seeming to aim towards.
Jason, do you want a bong rap?
No, man, I'll calm down. Let's go. Give her some questions now. Yeah, I'm good. I had to get that off my chest.
Well, there you go. But now, I think there's a serious question here, though, that, I mean, not to detract from what you guys are doing in any way, but there is the risk that it won't work. And in the judicial system that we have here in Canada, we have a history of these things failing, unfortunately. Anything to really, I mean, the only thing that ever has gone to the Supreme Court is Malmolavine's thing. And we just saw with Matt Murnaugh, I hadn't talked about this yet on the air, but we got word yesterday that Matt's Supreme Court application for his appeal was turned down.
Again,
so they've denied it completely.
This is criminal
so the Supreme
law.
Court will not see it, yeah.
This is criminal law, not constitutional
Right,
law.
it's different stuff.
Mr. Lewin should have filed a constitutional challenge, in my own opinion, but I'm not an attorney. But I don't know the details of Matt's case. All I know is that Matt, I heard his speech, and friggin' I agree 100%. You play your cards in the legal system, and goddamn it, if he got away with it, he stood his ground. He took a fucking risk. He done what a lot of us have done in the fucking trenches for years, and he done that for everybody. And those of you that want to sit there and talk smack probably have never fucking ate a rubber sandwich in the fucking morning and had to deal with a friggin' guard banging on your friggin' cell. When you have that shit, then you'll fucking understand what Matt's talking about. I've been in the fucking West and the East, so I know what the orange jumpsuit's like. Don't need to fucking go there. So you guys should give some goddamn respect for the man and understand his cards are played. His lawyer played every card he got.
That you think isn't giving respect to him?
There was people that disrespected him. I don't know who the fuck they are. I don't really care. If you're an activist, and the guy fucking took a stand, he took a risk. He may have made some mistakes, whatever. I don't fucking know the guy. All I know is I've met him. I thought he was an okay guy. But anybody who takes a goddamn stand, ends up going to jail, takes a 5-year stand, it's not easy going to court. It's pretty fucking stressing. Not to mention all the bullshit that comes with it from the other activists, and then you guys want to go jump on his jock? Fuck that. Matt, good on you, man. Way to stand up and way to represent the East Coast. And don't fucking listen to the haters, man. They're nothing but hating on fucking nothing.
Yeah, Matt's awesome. Good friend of the show. He was actually going to come on this week, but he's busy. We're going to try and get him on as soon as possible to talk about what happened with the case, how he's feeling. Matt actually is an employee of Cannabis Culture as well. He'll be doing a lot of work for us. He'll be contributing on a more regular basis now that he doesn't have to battle it out in the court system. So
excellent.
He's going to be a cultural creator.
Good.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about how the Coalition Against Repeal works here. What exactly?
Back to your okay. So what will happen if we fail? We go for federal injunction, and the justice says, Mr. Conroy, I deny your application. Okay, we're going to sue them in 2014 for damages. It'll be the largest class action suit in 20 years. Get on board, sign up, fill out your impact statements, and join the lawsuit. Because one way or another, right? We're going to sue the federal government. Yeah. We're either going to restrain them and they're going to comply, or we're going to see them in 2014 on April Fool's Day when they think it's funny. We'll see how funny it is with the lawsuit.
So now, that's really what you need then, are people coming forward who are jumping on to become part of the class action lawsuit, right? Really?
Exactly. Well, I mean, at this point, it looks like we're going to be going forward. We've got 100 lock boxes across the country. We've got a lot of more donations coming in. We've got additional, BC Civil Liberties Union has come out and said this is unconstitutional. Where there's some people that we're hoping will come in and actually help the medical patients. Those of you that want to stand out there that have made money off us, don't want to help, go ahead and stand off. And when all the dust settles, when all this is over, believe me, you'll be called out for who the hell you are. You misrepresent medical patients, screw that. This is our time that we need you guys to support us, and this is a real fight at the federal Supreme Bench of Canada for the country. And not only for us, for extractions. I mean, sure, in BC, we can have extractions. We can have hash and shit. We've added that to our case. We brought the Smith case in. We brought it to the federal bench so that everybody in the country can have extractions. Okay? Again, if we legalize down the road, it'll be under the charter. We're equal before and under the charter. This stuff matters. It matters a lot that we understand constitutional law and how it matters when there's charter established cases that what lawyers can refer to or people can refer to, whether in politics, making models, or whether not. Okay, but when those models are being looked at, it's a hell of a lot easier when there's already a charter established case that says personal production is fucking sound and it's part of the right to autonomy. It extends that right to liberty and your Section 1 right to access such liberty. Reasonable limits to it.
Cool. So I hate to cut us short, man, but I gotta bring Stoner Advisory back on, and it's already 6:23 right now. So I just want to make sure that we can drop. I know. Well, I want to, and we can't. We got to wrap things up fairly soon here anyway because it's already 6:30.
If they got any questions out there? I mean, I'm medicated as hell and obviously passionate.
I wanted you to give the address of where people can go again to find out more information. I know it's MMPR. MMAR Coalition Against Repeal.com is the website address. Is there anything else, any other place that people need to go to do anything on the website?
Everything's there. Links directly up to our attorney. It'll give you, wherever you see these, there's 10,000 of them going out across the country. It's taken us some time to get organized, but a large case like this, restraining the federal government, hasn't been done. There's no template. It wasn't like I could look it up and read how to do it, okay, nor can Mr. Conroy. You know, so this is something that is historical in nature, and I really hope that people can recognize that, do their own homework. You know, don't have to listen to activists. Don't listen to me. Read the documents. Do your own homework. Understand what the hell is going on. You know, listen to the lawyers. Listen to the attorneys that are involved. You know, because when this gets in front of the courts, even if we lose, we sued them in 2014. But at least you can say and look yourself in the mirror that you took a stand for your plants and for this country's future. I hope that my daughter one day, if she ever got cancer or something, could choose to fucking go grow her own plants or have someone grow them for her and not have to rely on a federal supply system like tobacco. You know, it's like tobacco and alcohol, well, beer anyway, and wine. Why can you still make that? And yet cannabis is so dangerous that you can't make it at home. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
And so by March 31st, 2014, they want to take away all the personal production licenses and designated production licenses from all Canadian growers, all medical growers. So there won't be any more. They're proposed this new system. And
that's not, it's slated. It's not even proposed now. It's law.
It's law. It's
so
slated,
it becomes full force March 31st. But of course, we intend to repeal that aspect if the justice agrees.
Right.
You know, this is why we need to get Mr. Conroy into the courts where the lawyers can do battle and we can get some resolve to the situation.
And that's why you need other people who have the same story, who are going to be impacted by this, to come forward and to join up with you guys.
Absolutely. John right now actually mentioned I have to go through about 800 impact statements that I filed. We have about 1,600 on file, and we're just now shortlisting them for looking for a really good plaintiff, you know, who's going to fit into the best category, and that's really the coalition's job. So there's a steering committee, a national committee that is looking into that, and it'll be narrowed down, and hopefully Mr. Conroy names that plaintiff when he's prepared to do it, and when he serves his writ to the government. All I can say officially is that it'll be done before before September 30th of this year. I believe by Christmas we'll have an answer around the injunction as well, and we'll all know where we stand as far as our federal licenses go for the next couple of years, while the constitutional challenge is followed should the justices agree. Anyway, I'll jump off and
cool, Jason. Thanks a lot, man, for coming on. It was excellent. MMAR Coalition Against Repeal.com is the website.
Thank you.
And
peace out, guys.
Yeah, Jason Wilcox, friend of the show. He'll be back very soon. Megan, come back out here and have a bong rip. Okay, that's fine. Eric's in the house too. What's going on, Eric? He's the guy. He's like the Phil Giroux of Pot TV. Stands in the background with his coffee, laughing. Yeah, we should have you back here, just standing here.
The silhouette in the background.
What's that?
As the silhouettes in the background?
Yeah, that's right, exactly. That's how, I'm referring to the Tom Green show. There used to be a guy named Phil Giroux that would stand in the background, and he'd just drink his coffee and laugh in the background of the set. Yeah, you can do that.
So you need coffee and a joint? Coffee and a joint?
Yeah, coffee and a joint. It'd be funny. That'd be really funny. You could just laugh at all my jokes that I don't make. Yeah, see Eric. Peace, brother. Well, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Megan?
Pretty good. Kind of sad that the computer's broken, but
I know we can't see.
I know.
We have our but what do you like? Do you like the sign that I put up there?
I know, it actually is very creative. I'm kind of surprised you didn't put a pot leaf on it though.
Oh, I forgot to put the little pot leaves.
I know.
Yeah, well, I was just doing
Come
it
on,
the easy way. Well, geez, maybe you should go and decorate it up. Do you want to decorate it up?
Come on,
Go for it. Do that. She's going to add the pot leaves. What's that? Oh yeah, Marius, you can hit the road if you want to, my friend. I'll take care of business. It's no problem. Yeah, for sure. Oh, we didn't play the videos, did we?
No, we haven't.
The Dana videos. We didn't play the videos. They can't see it back there. Can we play one of those videos before you go? Or do you have to leave right this very second?
No, I don't have to leave right this very second.
Okay. Well, let's play one of these videos, because I wanted to play the videos of Dana and the Trudeau thing. So what are they in order there, Marius? Dana 1 and 2?
Trudeau declares support for legal pot with Dana.
Yeah, play 1 and 2. If we can. And then we'll be back.
Millions of Canadians think it's a good
Nice work.
idea. Many others are firmly opposed. Well, now a man with a very real shot at becoming our next prime minister says he wants to legalize marijuana.
Justin Trudeau spent the day here in Vancouver, and as Peter Granger reports, the federal Liberal leader is promoting what you might call a radical proposal to change the law.
Welcome to Vancouver.
While glad-handing Vancouver voters, Justin Trudeau says it's time for conservative ideology and fear about marijuana to make way for sound science.
I have evolved in my own thinking. I was more hesitant to even decriminalize not so much as 5 years ago.
The Liberal leader says decriminalization is only a half measure of what he believes should ultimately happen, which is out-and-out legalization.
Decriminalization just removes the criminal penalties that are applied to people for having consumed or owning marijuana or having marijuana, and that tends to bog down the legal system and keeps the gangs basically and the criminal elements that are profiting from marijuana.
BC Bud is a $6 billion a year illegal industry. Now, as he runs for Prime Minister, Trudeau's sounding like the mayor of Amsterdam.
Once we control it, tax and regulate it, we allow for development of a medical marijuana industry that will be actually responsive to the needs of the many consumers of medical marijuana.
Trudeau appears to have decided that attacking the Harper government's war on drugs could be a winning strategy.
Well, this is an issue where the Conservatives are really out of step with the Canadian people.
Dana Larsen is already pushing a pro-pot political agenda by organizing a referendum in BC. He says Trudeau's new stance will push the issue.
If we can win this marijuana referendum in British Columbia, then we would see decriminalization coming into play in our province in early 2015 with a federal election in late 2015. This would ensure that marijuana policy reform was a big issue in the next federal election.
Recent polling suggests 70% of British Columbians already favor legal reform of marijuana laws. We'll have to wait until the federal election in 2015 to find out if Trudeau can turn public support for an idea into actual votes. Peter Granger, CTV News, Vancouver.
So we know what Justin Trudeau thinks. What about you? Do you agree with the federal Liberal leader that marijuana should be legalized as opposed to decriminalized?
To have your say, vote on our website, send us a tweet, or leave a comment on our Facebook page. We'll bring you the results before 7 o'clock.
Missed the red, and I kind of circled back.
You're back. Nice. Yo. So that was part one, and we also have a second video, right, Marius? So there you go. Dana on Trudeau on CTV, or what was it, CTV? Actually, this other clip, the second clip, is also CTV. So there's two CTV clips about Trudeau and Dana. And this one, I think Dana actually talks directly to the CTV peoples. So, Marius, if you want to throw that one up, slap it on, brother. And there's Gary Wintle in the crowd here. Hi, Gary. Gary Wintle, artist extraordinaire, graphic designer.
Which I should talk to you about when you have time.
Oh, okay.
In British Columbia, talking about the issue of marijuana, to decriminalize, to legalize. He was in Kelowna, British Columbia on Wednesday, and he said now is the time for Canada to move toward legalization.
I think we actually have that clip. If we can play it, just hear what he had to say. Let's listen to this.
I'm actually not in favor of decriminalizing cannabis. I'm in favor of legalizing it, tax and regulate. It's one of the only ways to keep it out of the hands of our kids, because the current war on drugs, the current model is not working. We have to use...
Dana Larsen is a pro-legalization activist and director of Sensible BC. He's in our Vancouver studio. So, Dana, let's start with your thoughts on what he had to say. I guess this helps your cause.
Well, it's always heartening to hear any politician saying they want to legalize marijuana. Unfortunately, they tend to make those comments when they're a long way from being able to do anything about it. But absolutely, it's great to see some support from the Liberal Party, and hopefully we can defeat Harper and make some changes at the federal level.
Yeah, I was going to raise that exact point as well, this sort of idea that the Liberal Party of Canada has kind of been tiptoeing around this, moving towards this for a little while now. Do you think Justin Trudeau is sincere?
I think he's sincere in what he's saying, but if he becomes prime minister, he's going to have challenges making all of his promises come true. We want to make it easy for Canada's next prime minister to legalize marijuana by having a referendum to decriminalize in British Columbia as a first step.
So do you think there's enough political will in this country to reform marijuana laws to that extent?
Well, if it was up to the people of Canada, we'd have legalized marijuana already. There's strong support for this all across the country, and of course, especially in British Columbia, where about 7 in 10 British Columbians want to see marijuana legalized. But translating that support into political action has been very challenging for our movement, and that's really why we're trying to bypass our politicians and have this grassroots referendum campaign.
Speaking of that campaign, there's also this economic argument that you and supporters of this initiative often tout, which is the idea of tax revenue, that if it was to be legalized, there could be a process by which the federal government could tax it, governments could tax it, and that revenue would be available for them.
Well, absolutely. There's a lot of good reasons to change the marijuana laws, and certainly civil liberties and over-imprisonment and redirection of police resources are all big reasons, but absolutely, the marijuana industry is really one of British Columbia's strongest economic engines. It's about $6 billion a year, which puts it on par with forestry and tourism, and I believe, like many British Columbians, that it's time to bring that industry up into the mainstream where it can be regulated and taxed and controlled, and where it can benefit British Columbians instead of being a problem for us.
You know, it's interesting that you reference the fact that there's an election happening right now. So when election time does come, which is supposed to be 2015, I mean, how high of a priority do you actually think drug reform will be for any of these federal parties?
I think it's going to be an increasingly important issue, largely because of what's happening with our neighbors to the south. Having Washington and Colorado recently vote to legalize marijuana is very important for us in Canada, and we're likely to see more states go the same way. It's a high possibility that Alaska and Oregon and a few other states are going to legalize over the next year or two. So this is an issue that's going to be very important for the next federal election.
The Liberal Party of Canada, as you are no doubt aware, doesn't currently have a lot of seats in Western Canada or in British Columbia either. They have a few. They'd certainly like to change that and bring in some more MPs from the West. Have you had any conversations, even sort of just anecdotally conversations, with anyone from the Liberal Party of Canada about this specific issue?
Well, actually, I go to a lot of marijuana-related events in the city, including the 420 rally and Cannabis Day and things like that. And we always see the young Liberals there with their tent, promoting their policy and encouraging people to get involved in their party. So that's a very good sign. And certainly I do talk to them quite a bit, and I've been seeking their support. And some of them are getting engaged in our Sensible BC campaign to make some changes here in British Columbia.
All right, Dana, thanks so much for making time for us and weighing in on this topic. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely, and sensiblebc.ca is the place to go to find out more about our campaign.
Thank you.
We're back. We're back. So yeah, Dana, in the news, that's cool that we're getting so much press and that Sensible BC is getting press because of the Trudeau thing. And Jody was actually in the media a lot as well. Now, Jody was here in the building, but she seemed to have disappeared now.
Yeah, she left.
Yeah, oh, she left. And I wanted to get her videos and show you guys her videos as well. Wasn't able to find them up on CTV's website yet. CTV was all over this issue yesterday, and I believe that Global and others also interviewed Jody, but I haven't seen any of it online yet. So once it becomes available online, watch the front page of Pot TV. You'll find that stuff there. As I find it, I will post it there. Yeah, so what about a bong rip there? Stoner Advisory, photographer extraordinaire.
Definitely down for a bong rip.
And we were just talking about how you'd make a good co-host of this show. Yeah, you probably would. We need to involve you more here. It's nice having somebody else around to bounce stuff off of. And that wasn't a sexual euphemism in any way.
No, I'm sure it wasn't.
But yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, and you're a lot of fun on the show. You hit the bong.
That's awesome.
Pretty hard there.
Well, you know, I got the lungs for it, so why not?
I'm sorry that we couldn't put your shots up on the back wall today.
Well, it's really the audience that is missing out, so apologize to all of them.
Yeah,
Not
sorry
me.
guys, you didn't get to see the shots, but we'll put them up online in a gallery on the front page of Cannabis Culture.
Yes, you now have them, so put them up whenever.
Cool. Yeah, we'll put them up. I also have my own shots from the glass gathering that I still have not published. I've just been so damn
You
busy.
haven't?
I haven't
Oh,
published them.
I
My
didn't
life
even
has
realize
been,
that.
All over the place in the past couple of weeks, so I haven't had time for a certain number of things, but all will be well within the cosmos very soon, and I'll get back to work probably.
Life is pretty crazy sometimes.
It is.
So
That's for sure. That's for sure. So yeah, I'm gonna rip the bong here myself, and I don't know what we're smoking. I think this is Rockstar actually. That's what you just puffed on. What'd you think?
it's pretty nice actually. Like the first bong toke I took at the beginning of the show at like 4 o'clock, I was like still baked from that, so it was pretty good. Granted, I did take a few vape bags
Yeah,
with Mr.
there's
Willie
a lot of weed
also.
that goes around the crowd here at the BCMP Vapor Lounge.
Oh, it's pretty rad.
It's hard if you came in here. You're usually offered a toke. If you don't have your own weed or something, and you just show up in here. I don't know. It's like there's weed everywhere here. It's hard not to walk through this building without somebody offering you some sort of.
Like honestly, right now I'm pretty
100%.
broke, and it's like I definitely don't go looking for tokes, but everyone's just like, here, toke.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I come by with a huge bag of weed when I have money, and it's awesome because I just roll the whole thing up and spend the whole night at the dam and come to the lounge.
And when you say the dam, you mean the Amsterdam, right?
Yes, the New Amsterdam Cafe. It's like one of my favorite places to hang out
people about
ever. Dude, the place is rad. They have amazing food, amazing staff. The guys in there rock.
This is right next door to us.
Yeah, right next door. Like the door right from here. It's right to your left if you're going out of this door. If you're on the street, it's to your right. Really noticeable. There's always a ton of people standing outside.
It's got a big neon sign that says the New Amsterdam,
New Amsterdam.
Cafe.
Yeah, you can smell this place from about a block away. That's one of my
And
favorite
it's not
parts.
because of the weed. It's because of the delicious grilled cheese sandwiches that they
Oh my
cook with
god,
bacon
those
on
grilled
them.
cheese sandwiches are amazing. Okay, yeah, I'm a
I can
little
smell them in
addicted
the
to
back
those.
alley
Yeah.
and through my office window.
Amazing.
Upstairs.
So yeah, great food, great people, and everybody's super accepting there. Like, you can go, you can sit at a table, you can have a conversation with people you've never met, and have an absolutely great time. And yeah, there's also the vape bar. So it's like $5 for an hour. You can sit there and vape, and you can rent bongs, I believe. So you can rent everything there. I see a lot of tourists in there, which is really funny. Apparently the what is it, the High Tour or something? There's some kind of pop lock tour that you can do, and like the tour takes you into the Amsterdam. So it's like a whole like stop, and I definitely recommend going there.
Yeah, no, the Amsterdam is totally kick-ass. I really like the idea of the food and bar situation back there.
Honestly, it's like if I were to drink alcohol and go to a bar every night, and like that was like my regular hangout, that's like the Amsterdam to me, except I go there and smoke weed and do dabs, and my buddy down there he's got his sublimator, so my god, we just get sublimated like every night. It's pretty crazy. It's an awesome time. Also, a huge glass selection and rollie selection. T-shirts, yeah, pretty much everything you think of. So
That's so awesome. Thanks, Courtney. Excellent.
She's a lifesaver, eh?
Assistant. Lovely assistant Courtney there. Oh, she's also producing the show now. Since Marius hit the road, so stepping in as the show producer is Courtney. And there's even a microphone for you there, Courtney, if you want to say something. They can't see you, but they can hear you.
Hello, Pot TV.
Alright, there's Courtney. Courtney's fantastic.
Yeah, Courtney's rad.
Oh, that's really good. We love Vancouver. So we both took a bong rip. That was a good show today. It's been 2 hours and 45 minutes of show today. Roughly, I think we started about 5 minutes late or something. We usually start 5 to 10 minutes late. Trying to get our shit together.
I'm pretty sure it was only 5 minutes late.
And today, we just had this problem with the projector. No big logo back there today for you guys.
Super sad.
Naked wall. But we have our logo up there now, so that one's just as good. They couldn't see it, though. They were complaining that you can't see it. And they couldn't see the thing. I'm going to show you. There you go.
A little bit of a delay.
Yeah.
But there it is.
Oh, there it goes.
Off the table.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, it was a cool show. I guess this is probably the end of it now. I'm just rambling on at
Yeah, I
this
would
point.
say so.
Well, I don't know. Should we talk about anything? The glass gathering. We were going to show the photos about the glass gathering, and I actually had some video and stuff I wanted to show from the glass gathering too. It wasn't end up able to process it all in time for the show today. Just too many things going on.
Yeah,
But-
there was a lot of really good interviews though. Like, definitely a lot of informative stuff from David Levine and Dana Larsen.
Yeah.
Also your liberal guys. Those guys were pretty
Oh,
awesome.
today on the
pretty
show,
rad.
it was cool. Yeah, those guys,
Yeah.
all these guys. It was a fun show today. And at the glass gathering, you and I were both there. We talked a little bit about it on the last show we were here together.
Yeah.
It was really cool. I want to thank Redbeard again for having us there.
Huge
We
thank
will
you,
get.
Stan.
I'm going to get those photos up. Your photos will be up on Cannabis Culture and mine as well. So we'll have all that stuff up there soon. And maybe we'll show some of them off on the next show and have some video from there as well. I know it's a few weeks afterwards, but whatever, who cares?
Everybody loves reliving the glass gathering. So
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, so we can show them off. And actually, we can not only put them up on the board back there, but we can give them to Marius to play so they can look at them as well occasionally as we pan through them. So there you go. Yeah, big thanks to everybody on the show today. Dana and Jason and Mark and Russ. And who else was on the show today? Who am I forgetting here? Anybody? No, yeah, there is.
Those two people sitting here.
Oh, yes, Van, of
Van.
course, was
Yeah,
on the
Van.
show.
Yeah, that was a really good interview.
This is tough, but this is the hardest part of the show. Where I have to
Remembering
remember
everybody?
who was on it. Yeah, I don't know who else showed up.
I think that-
DML, of course.
Yeah,
David
Mel- yeah.
Levine. Can't forget that guy. What a guy. All right, I think that was everybody. We round up. Courtney, Gary, everybody else, Marius. Trudeau. Yeah, that's right. Gary Wintle, superstar. You want to come and sit down for a sec on the show? Gary, run over, and then at least you get the cameo credit. What's new in the world of Gary Wintle? Super quick. Artist,
Something cameo worthy.
designer of the Free Mark logo, and many
for
other
real?
things for
That's
us.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, designing a billboard. No, not a billboard. A sandwich board. 2 sandwich boards. The CCHQ sandwich board and the BCMP Vapor Lounge sandwich board.
Nice, there you
And
go.
we decided we weren't sure about No Vapor Lounge name or not, but I don't know if it's a big announcement or big news, but it will say Vapor Lounge on it,
Yeah.
which is hardcore. That's what I was hoping for.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're taking a bit of a risk calling it a lounge because it's supposed to be the BCMP party office. It's not supposed to be a lounge. This is supposed to be a political office. That's the way we get away with this whole deal here. So calling it a lounge is taking a risk, even though
But it's a
essentially, I mean,
subtitle.
yeah.
You know,
right.
it's still the BC Marijuana Party.
No, I think we should have the damn logo like Vapor Lounge with our Vapor Lounge logo that we have. With
I
the
think so
letters
too,
written.
from
Yeah.
a marketing standpoint.
Yeah.
But
Let's do it. I'll talk to Jody.
hey, wow, the sign's already made.
I know the
but,
boss.
You know.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Yeah. Other
there
than
you
that,
go.
that's
Cameo
about
credit
it.
for
Just,
Gary Wintle.
Yeah, branding, signs.
How
Come
do
down
people-
and see them when they're done.
Send them to your website.
Oh, GaryWintle.com.
GaryWintle.com, and we'll spell Wintle for him just in case.
WINTLE.
There you go. Gary Wintle, he's the guy. All right, well, let's wrap this up, and we'll see you guys next Friday. Before that, I don't know if Mick's doing a show on Monday these days. He'll be back probably soon. I think he's just on another little hiatus. But, of course, Wednesday, tune in for From Under the Influence. Of course, there's a lot of Vapor Central shows on all night long, every night, all the time on Pot TV. In the evenings, you can find a lot of great content from Toronto on Pot TV, so tune in for that as well. We're going to have a schedule up on the front page of Pot TV very soon here. We've been working on getting that done. Something that shows what the next show is coming up, that rotates through all the latest shows, that kind of thing. That's going to be on the front page soon, so watch for that. You guys will see some other changes to Pot TV and Cannabis Culture coming soon as well. We're working all the time for you guys, and we love you. So peace. We'll see you soon. Bye, guys. Peace.